Yes, yeah, so good. Yeah, he's so funny and he's so charming. Wow. Oh, hey there. I didn't see you. I'm just watching some of my favorite movies of myself. You know, like Shia LaBeouf did in that movie theater with all his shitty movies. But this is better because these are my movies, Arnold Schwarzenegger's movies, and 60% of mine are good. But first, I have to say, I'm a little disappointed in my close, personal, intimate friends, Colin and Zoheb. I mean, I can't be too mad. One is a hillbilly from the south, and the other is from the ass end of the world, where pirates and scorpions are just killing each other all day or whatever. But still, I'm disappointed. Because you've only talked about one Arnold movie? That is bullshit! And you didn't even talk about the best Terminator, just the one where I rip Bill Paxton's heart out while my dick is out. You didn't even talk about the one where I chop Darth Vader's head off, or the one where there's like 4 horny clone Arnolds, or the one where I punch Satan, or the one with all the ugly kids crawling all over me. But hey, at least you're doing one of my smash hits, starring me, your favorite internet uncle, and Jamie Lee Curtis, and co-starring Jamie Lee Curtis's bodacious rocking body, yes! But anyway, have fun, boys. Enjoy my movie. I have to get back to watching this movie. Right now, it's Last Action Hero. Next up is Collateral Damage. I don't even remember making that one, and nobody remembers watching it. Well, shit. Well, fuck you. I'm basically a billionaire. Lots of money.
Secretly a spy, but thought by his family to be a dull salesman, Harry Tasker is tracking down nuclear missiles in possession of Islamic jihadist Aziz. Harry's mission is complicated when he realizes his neglected wife is contemplating an affair with Simon, a used car salesman who claims he's a spy. When Aziz kidnaps Harry and Helen, the secret agent must save the world and patch up his marriage at the same time. Welcome to another feature presentation of Midnight Double Feature, and on this episode we'll be covering 1994's True Lies, directed by James Cameron. Well, what's going on, boys and girls? Welcome back to Midnight Double Feature, where we're going to be covering True Lies, as you heard in the intro, but the... how do I say this? The Tom Arnold to my Schwarzenegger, the roadie to my Iron Man. Zoheb.
Oh, the Faisal to your Tom Arnold.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I'm brown.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm good, dude. How you doing?
That guy, I'm good, thank you. That guy looks like he is constantly on the verge of death. Like his eyes are like always kind of bulging, and it's like, do you have TB? Like, are you Arthur Morgan?
Do you know who that is?
I seen him in a bunch of shit, but maybe not what you're referring to.
He's a major player, dude. He's fucking won an Oscar. He's been nominated for 4 others.
Really?
He is George Clooney's writing and producing partner, Grant Heslov. They won. Yeah, they won the Oscar for because they produced Argo, so they won the Oscar for Argo. But they wrote like Good Night and Good Luck, and something else that I can't remember. But like they're like best friends. That guy who plays Faisal, his name is Grant Heslov, and George Clooney. So there you go.
Well, let me ask you a question. What kind of a sick bitch takes the ice cube trays out of the freezer?
Dude, do you know the backstory of this? Of that?
I think
line?
that may be why I typed it up at the top of my notes. Didn't that happen to him?
Okay. Well, so apparently Tom Arnold was going through an actual divorce at the time with Roseanne Barr, and Tom Arnold was telling Schwarzenegger the story of the ice cubes, and Schwarzenegger goes to Cameron and says, "Yeah, what kind of sick bitch takes out the ice cube?
What kind of a sick bitch takes the ice cube trays out of the freezer?"
Right, exactly. Oh, it's so good. I love it. Fuck, my auntie is terrible, dude. But something that you were not privy to, I did a little bit of sneaking around in the behind the scenes of this episode, and at the time of this recording, unfortunately, we weren't able to make it happen. But in post, it'll absolutely be in the episode. We had Arnold Schwarzenegger on this episode.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what that's going to sound like.
He actually opened this episode, so the listeners would have already heard him.
Oh, God. If you're hearing me from the past, pull a flash from Snyderverse and tell me if it's all okay. No,
no, but seriously, thank you so much to Matthew Anderson from LSG Media for coming in because.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Oh, God damn it. I can't wait. You bastard.
Yeah, dude. So I go to Matt Anderson because Matt's got such a great Arnold impression.
Absolutely.
It's so brilliant. So I go to him last week. I'm like, hey Matt, we're doing True Lies next week. If you can't come onto the episode, by the way, consider this your official invitation.
Yeah.
If you can't come onto the episode, we'd love to have your your Arnold because I mean we love
it's classic.
So he goes, yeah, man, no worries, I'll record something. And so he goes, he was supposed to record it in time for this podcast recording so I could play it on the air and you'd be able to hear it. But I think he just wasn't able to do that. Something happened to him, unfortunately. He just wasn't able to make it.
Whatever.
But he is going to make it for the post.
Excellent.
The post-production.
First episode of ours, I'll listen to it in like a year. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, dude, you know what other time that happened was Sid City. There was a song that I was trying to play and YouTube would not play the song. And I remember going, all right, we're just going to have to edit this out or something. And then it was like, wow, that was a great track, Colin. And it was something so like, we couldn't get it in there. Oh, those great podcasting moments. But, guys, just before we jump into the episode proper, if this is your first time listening to the show, we are going to spoil True Lies. There is an E on this motherfucker for a reason. Consider yourself warned. We are going to be spoiling. If you haven't seen this, gee, where the hell have you been, man? It's a great movie. But before we get into everything, if you want to find out any more information about the show, you can always go to midnightdoublefeature.com. That's got a link to, I believe, all of our socials. It's got the link to our Patreon, which is patreon.com/midnightdoublefeature. You can find our merch at our website. Also, stop by, rate and review us on iTunes. Let us know how we're doing. Give us those 5 stars. Takes 2 minutes. It really, really, really helps the show out helps the show out a bunch. And then also our Patreon is the Green Room. It's $5 a month. We've got something like 25 episodes stacked up in there so far. So you get access to all of that as soon as you sign up. There's no tiers. It's just $5. So consider signing up for that if you will. But if you can't, I get it. Just stop by, rate and review us. It helps out a lot.
There's plenty of tears. There's fucking tears of laughter.
Yeah, there's tears of me wiping my tears of laughter away with your $5 a month. No, I'm just kidding. No, we really do. And we have, our loyal Green Room subscribers, and you guys get 2 extra episodes a month. And, sometimes we kind of swap it up. We do different things, but you can get everything on there. And also don't forget to check out our Breaking Bad podcast, Bad Crystal. But beyond that, let's jump into this shit because I know we both like this movie a lot. I don't really think, it's hard to not like this movie. It's charming, it's an action movie, but it's got some heart and it's kind of goofy at times, but it's also, it's like the most comedic James Cameron movie I've ever seen. I think this is the close. I don't know. I don't think he's ever made a comedy. Not that I know of. It would be really weird to be like, Dumb and Dumber 3 with James Cameron. What the fuck? I would just love.
Can you imagine? Can you actually imagine?
I would love to, Arnold Schwarzenegger dressed up as dressed up as Jim Carrey, holding the briefcase like, oh, Samsonite. I was way off. Like, I would fucking love to see that. But anyways, no, I tell you what, I will defer to you because this is my pick. Short and sweet. I like this movie a lot, and I know you do too. But this is something that it's a bitch to find this motherfucker, dude. We were talking about this on bonus. It's not streaming anywhere. It's never been on Blu-ray. It's like, Jesus Christ, dude. Like, I started reading on Reddit, and luckily I found it on Tubi, and it expires in like 5 days. And I was so lucky to find it because if not, we'd have been covering something else. But the weird thing is just like the lack of this is not a small movie to go to the wayside. It's $100 million movie. It's weird.
Yeah, we were talking about this on the bonus episode where we covered Evolution. It's really, really strange how scarce this movie is. It's not streaming anywhere. There's no physical hard copies of it at all in stores. You can't go out to a store and buy it here in Australia. There's no version of a Blu-ray of this movie. It's just crazy that, James Cameron is one of the biggest directors on the planet, right? And one of his movies is just so, yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jamie Lee Curtis, Bill Paxton. Like, it's crazy. This is not an indie film. Like, it's just, they've got distribution. So I wonder if it's some kind of rights issue. I really, really wonder. But yeah, I was able to find it on Foxtel here in Australia. But
you could probably go find that fucking movie like the sixth day, like End of Days or Racer. Right. Like you could find those no problem. It's like, God damn, but True Lies it's different.
Yeah, absolutely. Because like I remember really, really searching for this movie like a couple of years ago when I wanted to revisit it because, man, I loved this movie growing up. Like this was always on TV growing up. My brother and I would watch it. But it wasn't, for some reason, it wasn't one of those ones, the Arnold ones that were in the rotation. It wasn't the T2. It wasn't Junior. It wasn't Kindergarten Cop. It wasn't like, for some reason, True Lies was just kind of like not really a part of that group. And I wonder why that is. I wonder if it's because the cheating element of it, that like, the whole, the setup of Jamie Lee Curtis, meeting with Bill Paxton behind Arnie's back. That I don't know how that plays to kids. I don't know if that played to us as kids as much as it does now. Like this plays, honestly, dude, it fucking works like gangbusters now. It's so fun to watch. It's so incredible to watch, and it's so entertaining. But like as kids, I don't think you're really interested in the whole, my wife is cheating on me.
Right. Whatever. It's kind of like, all right, can you go shoot some more brown people or something? Yeah. As a kid, you're like,
can you jump in a fucking Harrier jet already and blow fucking brown people away, please? Like, it's so I kind of wonder if that was a factor at all. But not only that, okay, by the way, this is a perfect action adventure film for me. Like I struggle to find flaws. If I am really looking very hard, I think the villain is very like one dimensional-ish.
You think? Man, God. Like, and I get it. It comes from a time when
that's not why we're coming here. Like, that's not why we're coming to this movie. We're coming to this movie for Arnold and Jamie Lee Curtis and maybe a little bit of Bill Paxton. But mostly it's Arnold and Jamie Lee Curtis. It's this whole action comedy kind of like premise where, the wife is this person who's wanting to be a bit more adventurous, and she goes out and he thinks she's cheating. Like that's why we're coming to this movie. The villains are secondary, if anything, right?
Yeah, they're definitely very like mustache twirling comic booky kind of like. Why are you doing this? For money, of course. It's like, okay, gotcha.
Allahu Akbar. Yeah, that
right. Yeah, like because somebody asked James Cameron about doing a sequel, and I remember him going like, "Well, after 9/11, terrorism isn't really that like fun anymore or funny," and it was like, I mean, it's not really that funny to begin with. Like,
this was also, but I mean, like it's strange. It's strange because I mean, like, yes, there's a lot of brown people getting blown away in this movie. This was also after the initial 9/11 bombing. Oh, sorry, Trade Center bombing, right? I mean, the one in the parking
garage.
Yeah, and there's still terrorist attacks happening. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, well, I think that it was like that was like the first major one to really kind of like, I mean, like major blow in the in the 21st century. So I think with that just fresh on everybody's minds, he's like, nah, I don't really want to. I'm going to go make Avatar. I'm good.
Right.
But I'm sorry. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you didn't cut me off at all, man. I think this is just an expertly made movie, like by a director who knows what he's doing. He wrote it too. Like, God damn it! Like, what a script! What a fucking script!
Yeah,
like for them, dude. Once they like come into the hotel room. And then she's like, "It's all right, John. It's all right, Harry. It's all right, Harry. Don't worry, I got this." Amazing, dude. It's just like, holy fuck, she fucking thinks that this is a part of the operation,
right?
It's just such a genius script, and it's executed so well, man. The pacing of this movie, it's a 2-hour and 20-minute action film, which is lengthy. It's a lengthy.
Yes, it is.
It's a beefy bitch.
Yes,
it's a beefy bitch. But at no point does it feel like it's dragging. At no point am I like, no, dude. Like I know I'm looking at your face, and I know what you're about to say, because at a moment in this movie, I thought it was about to roll credits. I thought it was about to roll credits after the bridge scene.
Yep.
And then I fucking knew it. But man, am I glad that we got the fucking Harrier jet. Like, holy shit, dude. He boards that Harrier jet, and I'm like, you go fuck those sand people up, man. You go fuck them up.
Just fucking people shooting from the cliffs.
Yeah, this is you pull this out of your ass as a pick, and I'm just like, thank you, God, because this is so fucking good.
I did. So I literally, like, my choice of movies lately has been like, I've got to load a revolver with a movie and just pull the trigger and see what happens. And True Lies was what popped up. Yeah, just shot me in the face with True Lies. Yeah, 2 hours and 20. This movie's too goddamn long, man. There's
really.
I think this movie does need to end at the bridge scene. You swap Tia Carrera out for the guy, and for the terrorist, and just kill both of them in the same. I don't know. This movie could be scaled back. But it is cool seeing Arnold like fly and see him like just cause like reckless like collateral damage, just firing through a fucking building,
flying around an American city.
I know, and I die when I see him shoot through that whole building and just wipe out the whole floor. And I'm like, you just then see the building go and just tip over and fucking crush everybody. I think you just wiped out a whole floor. All those support beams are gone. You shot it point blank with a Harrier jet. Like, what did you think was going to happen?
There's a 50 cals, my man.
Yeah, it's super, and it's it's super weird seeing a plane around like a downtown area, fucking with buildings and shit. It's like that's a very strange like sight now. But but you know, it's a fun movie. The thing is, it's got the right tone. It's got the right tone of action. It's got the right tone of comedy, but then there's also elements of like, he's not a perfect, you know, it's not like he's just this like perfect spy. He's kind of a fuck up, you know, he's kind of fucking up at home. And that's kind of an interesting thing to be like, I know it's for work and stuff like that. I know you really do love your wife, but it's still at some point you've got to like make time for these things. So I think I remember everybody having a copy of this movie. I mean, surprisingly, I think we had like a taped off TV, or it came on TV a lot, but I remember watching the shit out of this movie. And the interesting thing was like, you know, watching it and then seeing Schwarzenegger, who, you know, it's like, I've seen Kindergarten Cop, I've seen this, I've seen that. But then seeing him like, as you know, he's like an insurance salesman. I was like, in what universe where everybody is birthed by like a Greek god? Is that where like the universe where this guy's an insurance rep? So there's some funny parts, you know, to it. And there's definitely some goofy stuff, but everybody, you know, they know what kind of movie they're making, and the tone is excuse me. The tone is set really well. And I think, honestly, I mean, Jamie Lee Curtis is excellent, but Tom Arnold might be the best part of this movie. She does. Oh, excuse me.
I think you said Bill Paxton wrong.
Oh, fuck you. I love Bill Paxton, but dude, watching Tom Arnold, I was like, you know, I gotta say, I think Tom Arnold kind of reminds me of myself a little bit. Like his character when he was just like,
you're on your second divorce. Is that what you're saying?
Dude, and just this like kind of like foul mouth, like fast talking, kind of like, you know, he's like, that money she's taking, you got to crack down soon. It's probably for an abortion. You know, it's like, that sounds like some fucked up, like dark. He's got a dark sense of humor. He's kind of cynical. I was like, yeah, that sounds kind of like me. But, you know, Bill Paxton, it's crazy watching Bill Paxton, and you see him like kind of run out at the end, and he's like, oh, and he's got his hand on his dick and he's running away in the tux. And it's like, that's the same guy in the bar in Near Dark. Fingers looking good. And I'm like, oh my God, dude, that's outrageous. I mean, it's not the greatest movie of all time, but everybody at least needs to see that scene of like Lance Henriksen, the woman from Aliens, and she's John Connor's mom, and T2, the woman who like,
the one who's playing a brown person in and
she's like, I think she's Jewish, but I can't remember. Jeanette Goldstein, thank you, Jeanette Goldstein, and you know, God, you got to see Near Dark, it's great, and that's also because that's Catherine Bigelow, right,
ex-wife.
Yeah. So I really, really
Not my
enjoy this.
ex-wife, James Cameron's.
Yeah. yeah. Ex-wife, Catherine Bigelow, no relation, different spelling.
Catherine Bigelow, the same woman who made Zero Dark 30, which is also about brown people.
Yeah. Well, and that's one thing I was very curious about, of like watching this, like, does that ever get old, honestly, watching movies? And it's just like, it's always like, I'm sure that gets annoying after a while. Like, okay, dude, like, and I'm not trying to be political or like, I'm not trying to I'm virtue signal or anything. I'm sure that would get fucking annoying after a while.
It gets
like
annoying. It does. I'm not going to lie, dude. Oh, I'm sorry for your cutting you off, but like,
no.
For me,
no, you let the white man
get,
talk, okay? No, I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
For me, it doesn't necessarily get annoying. It's just like, okay, it's just a bad guy for me. It's my dad who finds it annoying. I think maybe it's because he's a little bit more religious. I mean, like, but here's an example. I just talked about Zero Dark 30. I think Zero Dark 30 is a fantastic movie. Whether it's true or not, whether that's how they killed Bin Laden, kind of whatever. It's up in the air,
right.
Whatever. I don't know. It's not really up in the air because I guess officially that's how they've announced it, but whatever, cite your sources kind of thing. But like,
right.
This is more, I'm more open to seeing it, I guess Muslims in that kind of setting. Like a true story, heavy drama,
right?
Whereas this is a bit more of a caricature,
right?
Like like Art Malik is playing what Americans think of Muslim of Middle Eastern Muslims.
By the way,
during this time in 1994.
For anybody who doesn't know, Zoheb is brown, by the way. I'm sorry. For anyone who might be listening, it's like, why are they talking to this guy about who's this Australian dude? Like, no, by the way,
if you think that Zoheb isn't anything but a brown person's name, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, like your family raised you Muslim and stuff. So it's like,
right, yeah, absolutely.
Watching it, I'm like, I would never get tired of watching like Catholic people go down for like pedo stuff. Like, awesome. I wasn't raised Catholic. I was raised Christian, but still, I was like, I'm sure that gets annoying after a while where it's like, if every person, as a bad guy in 80s movies and 90s movies was like some half French, half English bald guy with a red beard. I'm like, okay. I mean, even that gets tired. Like, people are like, oh, Tyson Fury, big guy with like a red beard. I'm like, I guess. Okay. Like,
sure.
Like, I can't imagine the annoyingness of like just being a bald guy with a beard. It's just kind of like, yeah, you got that biker kind of look. It's like, how? I couldn't ride a motorcycle if you put a gun to my fucking head. Like, I couldn't. So it's kind of like, I can't imagine watching cinema.
It really doesn't get that, I mean, like, that annoying. Unless it's like a caricature like this. And that's, again, like I talked about, like how one note the villain was in this. But again, I'm not going to this movie for the bad guys, Arnold to fuck these guys up. I think the true gem of this movie and the shining light of this movie is the whole cheating piece, like the whole affair element of it all. Like, I think that is so much. It's kind of like how you have two movies in this movie. Like, you've got the whole cheating element, which like. It's kind of crazy how James Cameron kind of juggles the two elements of like, the whole actual terrorist thing versus the cheating element. Because like the terrorist thing takes a massive pause for a very long portion of the movie until we come back to it, until we circle back around to the hotel room.
Right.
But the terrorists, like once we start getting to the nukes and we start getting to the, like the this is my plan, the whatever, the Crimson Jihad.
That sounds like a wrestler.
That's when you start to
the Crimson Jihad sounds like a wrestler. Dude. Come on.
The Ayatollah. That's when we start to in other movies I start to switch off. That's when I start to switch off. But I think Cameron, the way he handles the Crimson Jihad, he finds a way to fucking make it hilarious. Like, honestly, dude, when he is giving his speech, I don't think I've howled with laughter more in this particular in this particular unit where I'm living now, than when that guy is filming
and the low battery
Dude, the low battery, it switches off. He's fucking sweating bullets. He's shaking.
That
And
dude,
then, like, when
that
he-
could almost be like a sketch on its own. Just the dude who's
Yeah.
like, how do you go from here? Like, because it's not going to end well. I'm surprised
Because
he lived.
he's so into it. Like he's like Aziz, the battery. Like, like that whole thing. It's just so good. But again, I think the cheating element, Bill Paxton, Jamie Lee Curtis, like all of that is the beating heart of this movie. And I think, the whole through line of like her believing that she is an undercover agent, like that is, again, just great script writing in this whole thing. But it's two movies that are kind of at war with each other. And if James Cameron wasn't directing the terrorist element of it, I think it'll be a lot weaker. Like, I think it'll be, I don't know, he just finds a way to really engage you into it a lot more. It really doesn't bother me as much as it would bother a lot of other people that, we're seeing brown Muslims again. Like, it's just because like at this time you got the Russians, right? Like Arnie always fought the Russians as well. Like that was a whole thing. So I don't know. It's just a bunch of bad guys to me. Like, you know, that because it's okay. Here's another thing we should drill down on: the Arnold Schwarzenegger action movie. Like that is a genre unto itself, right? Like Arnold is probably the last big movie star to draw people to the cinema with just that last name. Like, like
his name is a brand.
Right. His name is a brand. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, like, it's very rare. I'm thinking of people like Tom Cruise or Dwayne The Rock Johnson who can single-handedly carry a movie or, make a movie financial success. But I don't think it happens quite as often as it did in the 90s or 80s with Arnold. Like, I think Arnold was that last big person.
I think the closest is The Rock, but it's like the quality of movies he's making is nothing compared to like T1, T2, Kindergarten Cop. I mean, this... Right. Like, Jesus Christ. I mean, don't get me wrong. Arnold also made, Jingle All the Way and stuff like that. Like, he made those movies, but The Rock really hasn't hit his, like, T2 moment but it was like, I don't know. Schwarzenegger is just, I mean, it's almost like Batman. It's like, who doesn't know who Schwarzenegger is? It's like, who would not recognize this guy, like, anywhere? He's just so, and he's a character even unto himself, just you kind of do the voice like this and it just sounds like Arnold Schwarzenegger. And
he's got a great story, right? I mean, you were telling me you've read Total Recall. I've read Total Recall. I think that like his story of arriving in America and participating in Mr. Olympia and all that shit, like it's pretty awesome, dude. Like, it's a really uplifting and inspiring story. Whether it's true or not, that's a whole different thing. But like, becoming involved with the Kennedys, like that whole thing, like it's kind of inspiring for someone who indirectly escaped World War II, like the end of World War II in Austria, like
Well, that and just what is the shit that he says in Pump? He's like, when they're going to work out, it's like
it's like gumming.
It's like having sex with a woman, and it's like, Jesus Christ, man, that's a good documentary though. Pumping Iron's interesting.
Pumping Iron is amazing. Like, amazing. I love that documentary. When he's fucking around with Lou Ferrigno or Jesse Ventura. Oh, it's so good.
I die. I can't remember what the guy's name is, but somebody steals his Lucky t-shirt and like takes off with it. And he was like, oh, I stole that guy's t-shirt. And he's like, I think it's like Mike Starr or something. And the next thing you know, it's just him in the dressing room going, hey, has anybody seen my shirt? You feel so bad. You feel so fucking bad. But, let's jump into this bitch, man.
Let's jump into this. Like, there's so much. Man, I love this movie. I do. I sat there and this is okay. By the way, I'm about to reveal how lazy I am for the podcast. Whenever we cover a movie on the podcast, I only watch it once, and that's usually like the night before.
Yeah,
I watched this. You messaged me on this last Saturday that we were covering this movie. I sat there on Sunday night to watch this movie. With Steph, and we both had a great time. And then a week passed, and I watched it again last night. Like, I'm just like, fuck, I'm going to put this on again, just have a good time,
Yeah, absolutely, dude. And we shall. We're going to jump into this guy real quick. Because the beginning of this starts like fucking GoldenEye, you know, that's all I thought, just that dun dun GoldenEye, I found this. That's all I could fucking think of.
Incredibly James Bond-esque. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, dude. And just the knife breaking up through the ice and stuff. It's like, okay, this is pretty cool. And like, just give James Cameron the color blue and you'll be fine. Like, you'll be good. Just give him some light and color it blue and he'll be all good. But
apparently the hardest part of this movie for Arnold was learning how to tango.
Oh yeah, well, I bet. I mean, in Pumping Iron, you can see him with like a ballet instructor, and he's so just like, "What do I do with my hands?" You know, like,
what do I do with my hands?
Yeah,
I'm trying to perfect it. Sorry,
I remember because the first chapter of Total Recall, he narrates the audiobook, but then the rest is Stephen Lang from like Avatar and stuff.
Oh, no way. Avatar.
And you know, we're talking about the move to California, you know, and I remember Conan used to have a bit. He was like, how the fuck are you the governor of a state you can't pronounce? And it's like, how is that possible? You know, it's California. But that book is interesting, but there are some parts, especially when he starts talking about like his years in office where he's like, yeah, I did this bad, then this went bad, then something else.
It gets a little boring. And
but they did a lot of really good stuff too. You know, I did some really good things. It's like, okay, calm down, Arnold. Let's go back to you talking about
a guy. Talk about the movie star, right?
Yeah, like Mr. Blockbuster, you know.
Yeah, I'm just looking at him like leaving the house, like just before he says, "Sure, here's my invitation." Like, you know, he's wearing the tux. You know, just the definition of movie star, I think, is Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, how many movies was he considered for that? RoboCop, Judge Dredd, like all of these movies that we love, and it was just because he was this awesome action star, you know. And the how many movies would he have done if Stallone were not around? Like, what if he was in Rambo? You know, like what if Stallone was Terminator?
when he discovered that he could do comedy, right, with like Junior and like Twins and Kindergarten Cop,
right?
Like, you know, he could. He started to break into other things, which is like, you know, a lot of actors don't do. They find their comfort zone, right, and they just stay there. And he's just like, no, I'm like, let me take a pause on the action film for now.
Yeah, dude, you gotta watch his like Japanese commercials that he does. Like, I think they're
no way.
Like it's like a drink commercial, and it's very just it's very watching it. It's like, holy shit, this feels like a acid trip.
Presenting soju.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And it's like, it's Schwarzenegger, but I think his shit is overdubbed. So it's like Schwarzenegger's, you know, body with just like an Asian guy's, you know, like a Japanese guy's voice. Arnold's the muscle. Arnold is really like the muscle. Tom Arnold is that's what's fucking me up. I just called him Arnie the whole thing. So I'm calling Arnold Schwarzenegger, Tom Arnold. Like, at some point, who was just like 2 Arnolds for the price of 1. Like, come on, dude. He's the muscle. Tom Arnold is the humor. And the other dude, until you told me he was George Clooney's writing partner, this guy was just like, he played bit parts like this all the time in the 90s. I was like, this guy is the most typecast man in like the 90s. Like, I remember seeing him, and he was never the lead in anything.
The Scorpion King. He was the second, you know, in the Scorpion King, he was like the second fiddle to The Rock because obviously he's brown. So,
that's what he was always kind of like, that guy, you know. But Harry dances, he drinks, he does some spy shit before his cover is blown. And we're also introduced to Tia Carrera, who I remember everybody's like, oh yeah, Wayne's World. And I was like, she was in a show that I remember. It was like Tomb Raider, but it was like not called Tomb Raider. It was like some Canadian TV show or something I remember her from. But oh my God, in the fucking, like, even as a small child, I was just like, good God, like that woman's gorgeous. That woman is. I mean, don't get me wrong. The MVP, Jamie Lee Curtis, but
dude, the scene.
Yeah, she's 10 years older than I am
like,
right now, and she's still in better shape than I am. Like,
I'm just like, how? What did she? I don't know how she didn't do modeling or something, man. Like that is. Yeah, that is this scene. I'm speechless right now. Imagine when we get to the scene. Like,
right. No, it's absolutely like burned into my small childhood memory of like, that is a woman. Like, that is a woman.
That's a woman right there. Yeah.
I like that. I am interested in that.
James Cameron has been feeding young kids' minds with impossible to attain standards.
Right. Dude, she's only 61. Don't he? I wouldn't even bat an eye. Would not. Like that
she's
short
only
hair.
60. Dude, she looks like 75 in the new Halloween.
Yeah, they definitely make her look like a lady who lives with like dogs on the side of the road.
Right.
But it's like, no, dude, those glasses and that short hair. I'm there, dude. I'm there.
Oh no, dude. Yeah, have you seen her in Knives Out, dude? She looks regal.
I know. Oh my God, just don't like it. I love it. He kind of dances. He kind of, does his thing and, he dances the tango, but I love, he blows the thing and he starts running and just to see Schwarzenegger run, it's just like,
it's so good. Dude.
This motherfucker.
Like, have you ever seen like bodybuilders run? Like
dude,
they're just like top heavy. It's funny.
It's like watching somebody in a when they put like those muscle suits on for costumes, like run, like they can't quite move their arms like very well. And it cracked me up, like seeing him run and then seeing the stunt double like sliding down his back and shooting people. And I was like, oh man, that fucking killed me. But I mean, this whole first scene, it's not bad. Again, I think that this is an interesting setup, but again, it takes how long? 15. We really kind of get our setup not too terribly late, but it's 15 minutes in before he like comes home. And it's like, oh, okay. So this is just like a normal guy, who just happens to be a spy and his family has no idea. Yeah. So, I mean, that because I don't want to take that whole thing scene by scene. It's just a big action sequence. It's a lot of fun. Yeah. I like watching it. But especially,
what? It's funny because it's the weakest action scene in the entire film. I mean, like, this is a film.
They don't want to blow their load
big set pieces.
Yeah. What? Well, they don't want to blow their load too early. There's like, but there are like four more, it's like there, but the thing about this movie is, like watching it this time around and I'm, I'm trying to think of the right way to say it, because like what you said, it starts off with this like whole spy dynamic. And then, we meet the family and we kind of see the double life and then everything stops. And then that's when everything starts with like Simon and Helen and stuff. Like my question is, do you think that's like a problem with the movie? Because I could have used like a scene or two if they cut back to the Crimson Jihad, like, oh, his name is Harry Trasker. He's going to be here. Like, but okay, cool. Hey, yeah, those guys, they're still doing shit. Like, you've just gotten so sidetracked with this now, because when this terrorists show up, it's like, how the fuck do you even know he was here? Like, this is strange,
Here's my thing. I don't find.
I don't care.
Yeah. Well, no, that's kind of what I'm about to say.
Yeah.
I don't find the Crimson Jihad that interesting, and I don't think that James Cameron is that interested in them either.
No.
Like, I think he's a lot more interested in this family dynamic, in this spy who is trying to hide his secret identity from his wife. I don't think that. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense that we get as very little Crimson Jihad as possible, so it doesn't make it like, once we get to the reveal of what their plan is and stuff like that, it doesn't come off as, oh, is that it? It doesn't come off as like, oh, they're just trying to blow up the world.
Right.
Okay, cool,
yeah.
Right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, if we get a small amount of Crimson Jihad, by the time we get to their plan, it's just like, all right, yeah, whatever, I'll run with it, because there hasn't been that much setup for it. I don't know. It's just
right.
Me.
No, sure. I'm down for that. I was just like, I wouldn't mind touching back to that. Just a small, just a small scene. That's all I need. Just a little taste, just a little bit.
Can we? We didn't talk about James Cameron too. I mean, like
yeah.
It's funny because this movie, and I haven't seen The Abyss, and I know I should. It's a blind spot for me. It's the only one in his resume that I haven't seen. But this movie feels like a outlier from his like whole resume, right? I mean, like, you've got these big like culture shifting movies like Aliens, T1, T2, Titanic after this, then Avatar, and they are all in the zeitgeist always, right? Like, they're always being talked about. And then you get True Lies, and again, just Abyss aside because I haven't seen it, but people do talk about The Abyss as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The True Lies is, I feel like it's the black sheep of his resume, right? I mean, like in terms of that, like you don't hear about it too often. You don't like, people are always like talking about, the best Arnold Schwarzenegger movies. This never makes the cut. It's always Predator. It's always T1, T2. Like, it's never True Lies. True Lies is never in the conversation. So it's just interesting to me that like you have this director who is considered one of the biggest, probably the biggest director of all time. Like, you literally, Titanic and Avatar are two of the highest grossing movies of all time.
Right, yeah.
And you have True Lies, which is a movie that he directed and is fucking great, by the way. It did really well critically, it did really well commercially, and it's never really
talked about. Well, and I think that part of it might be, I looked on Reddit, and somebody 5 years ago on Reddit was like, where the fuck is this movie? So I'm going, hey, that was 5 years ago. Like, when's the last thing what was the last thing this was put out on? VHS? Like, is this on DVD anywhere? I'm sure it is. But I think that there is kind of something, I think that Black Sheep is, it reminds me of a quote from a Chuck Palahniuk book. He's like, blank isn't the right word, but it's the closest one I can think of. And he's like, and Black Sheep is not the right word, but it's the closest one I can think of.
Right,
it's also
exactly, same.
You're just a little bit like, I kind of look at my family and I'm like, I think I'm the little bit of a different one here.
Black Sheep implies that its quality is not that great, right? I mean, like, because he's had all these massive movies that are all great, like, honestly, like really, really great. I honestly, there's a lot of Avatar hate out there. I enjoy Avatar. I don't think it's terrible.
I've never seen it.
Yeah, it's nothing special. People out there like,
people lost their goddamn minds when that movie came out. Like,
people either love it or hate it, and I'm just like somewhere in the middle. I'm just like, it's fine. And because it's cool to like hate things that are popular, people also really don't like Titanic. Right? Like, there's this whole, if you go to film Twitter, you'd be like, oh, Titanic, I didn't really care for it, Like, I'm only into fucking Amelie and all that bullshit. Like, just.
Well, one thing I think is looking at James Cameron's movies, except for T1, like, maybe The Abyss, a lot of it, like, this seems, I know it's $100 million movie, but it really doesn't seem like anything compared to T2, Titanic, or Avatar. Yeah. Like, those are like, dude, globally, you're like eating the world at that point. That's such a huge movie. So I think maybe True Lies, the fact that it is just kind of, it's not groundbreaking, maybe. The fact that it is something that somebody else could have directed. It wouldn't be the same film. It might still be a good film, but nobody else could have made like T2, Like, nobody else could have made Titanic or Avatar.
Sorry to cut you off. I didn't think about that. The fact that like the concept on the surface is
not a Cameron concept,
Yeah, right. It's not aliens. It's not T2. It's not this hefty, lofty, giant concept.
I think we cracked this fucking code.
See, Titanic breaks through that surface, or icebergs through that surface. Because I think of the scale of its production, right? Like, it was a $300 million movie. They crashed the real Titanic. They sunk the real Titanic, and they filmed it.
Seems, dude. I was playing Sunset Overdrive, and there's a guy who sends you on a mission to collect stuff, and he just stays in a submarine, and his name is
something Cameron, probably.
No, it's the name of the what's the name if you don't want to take writing credit for Alan Smithy. And he's like, my name's Alan Smithy, and I'm making a movie about a plane crash, and I need you to bring me $600 million. I was like, oh my God. That's awesome. Sorry.
That's awesome. No. But like, I think we were just, I was just trying to understand why this movie isn't as widely recognized. Because people might think that this is not, you can honestly conflate this as a John McTiernan movie. You can honestly be like, I thought that was directed by John McTiernan. Right. Because like Last Action Hero came around a bit, I think a couple of years after this, obviously starring, Arnold as well. Visually looks pretty similar. Visually, like, you've got these big action sequences, Arnold, like, obviously it's a lesser movie, like the quality of it's not that great. The writing's not as strong.
Very meta. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think what you said is right. I think Terminator 1, T2, Aliens, Titanic, and Avatar, I think those are movies that can only be directed by James Cameron. Whereas this is something that can probably be handled by John McTiernan at this time, especially as well.
Right, yeah, and not that McTiernan is less of a director than James Cameron, but kind of James Cameron, like John McTiernan, Die Hard, and Predator, like those are all fantastic movies.
Hunt for Red October, yeah,
right. I feel like he's kind of like the James Cameron before James Cameron at that time. Like he's cranking out these incredible movies. And especially like True Lies, I think that maybe it does have something to do with the fact that it's just like shooting brown people, and maybe there's just some, September the 11th kind of feelings behind this. Seeing that Harrier jet and seeing like nukes go off and shit, like, that's hitting a little too close to home now. Like maybe that's part of it. Who knows with some of these movies, man, but that's good. I felt like I was hitting this hump of like, what is wrong with this movie that is different from everything? And now that I'm over that hump, I can enjoy talking about the movie more.
Same.
Now that it's like getting a knot worked out in your back. And I'm like, I will stop for 30 minutes, 10 minutes into this movie and talk about what's wrong with it. Cause something is up here.
Shit.
But, and I hate to, this is such a sourdough. Did you hear about Eliza Dushku? She said that she was like molested during this.
Molested.
I was like, God damn it, man. And I, it sucks because it taints the movie. And at the same time, it's something where it's like, growing up, I knew what powder was, like with Victor Salva and stuff. I was like, that's kind of fucked up, versus now hearing about it like decades later. I'm like, God damn it. It's like retroactively, I feel like shit for liking it, but I'm like, you know what? Still, I grew up with it. It's still a really enjoyable movie, but there is kind of like that. You do have to take a minute to be like, that does kind of suck.
Bit of a dark cloud above it. Yeah. I look, anyone who's listening doesn't know the backstory. Eliza Dushku, who plays the daughter in this movie, claims, allegedly, right? I'm not saying that anyone did anything. Alleges that one of the crew molested her. I can't remember she
I think
does
it's
name
Arnold's
him
stunt double from what I was reading.
Oh, really?
Because I think that more than one woman
I was reading
forward.
That it was whoever rigs her to the crane at the end, because she was like, I felt like I had nowhere to go. Well, this is much later. She's like, I felt like I had nowhere to go because this guy looks after my safety on the movie. Like I had nothing. I couldn't say anything.
Right.
Which is terrifying.
She's 12.
Honestly.
She's 12 making this. And there's a line where it's like, she's 14 now, man. I was like, the fuck she is? Dude, I got a niece in high school that looks fucking, their age is similar, but like, dude, that's outrageous. You're like, no, that is
she looks like
child.
A young meadow soprano in this movie.
She fucking totally does, though. Like, that's all I could think. I was like, oh my God, like Jackie Jr. But it sucks.
By the way, Eliza Dushku now.
Oh, dude, I remember her from
Game Over.
Bring It On was my kind of first like introduction.
Jane Silent Bob Strike Back for me.
I never seen that. Never watched it. But the reason I brought it up because it's something where it's like I don't want to like linger on it because it is like, man, that sucks. But I feel like it's something when you watch one of these movies, you have to kind of, if you enjoy the movie, you have to kind of take the good with the bad and at least acknowledge it and be like, that's, if, more power to her. I hope they fucking cut that guy's balls off if that's what happened.
Here's the thing though. Like, if I watch a Kevin Spacey movie, it's that's what we've brought this up so many times, The Usual Suspects.
Right.
I'm going to watch The Usual Suspects as The Usual Suspects. Do you know what I mean? Like it's tough to really. I totally every time I watch a Tom Cruise movie, I separate the Scientology, like the actor from what he's doing.
Right.
It's much harder when it's an actual crime that's being committed. But
and when it happens on, like, not on the set, but like the movie is what brought the people together, and I think that's where it's like. It kind of hangs this like cloud, but at the same time you go, there's people who wrote and starred and got up and did the catering for this and it employed people. And it's like, I don't want to you hate to like take everybody's work and throw it out with that and not watch the movie because of something like that, because there's so many other people connected to it. Absolutely. There's
a thing in law, and I hate fucking lawyer, whatever. There's a thing in law called the but-for test, and it's kind of like something would not have happened but for this event. Like, it's just like a chain of causation thing. So Eliza Dushku would not have been molested but for this production. Like, you know, like that would not have happened otherwise if she had not met this man via this movie. Like, you know, and that sucks. That sucks to think about. Yeah.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, you know, it's not something I want to like linger on, but it's one of those things. It's like, you know, just acknowledge it, you know, and you can also still kind of try and appreciate what's going on with other people in the movie as well. And I just wanted to touch on that, but,
way to bring the room down. Jesus
I know.
Christ.
I'm the one at a party who's like, man, you should have seen the animal you were eating get slaughtered. No, I'm just kidding. So Harry ends up, you know, he has the mission in Switzerland. His cover gets blown. He comes home. You know, I will say though, like my whole thing is like, why is she in this movie? Like, no offense to Elijah Dushku, but like plot wise, I'm talking about like the story and stuff. As I go, like, I mean, after the kiss on the bridge and stuff, like I don't really need any of this stuff with like, I know it's fun and stuff at the end, but seeing her like steal stuff and write, and it's like, dude, what's mind blowing again is like, oh, she's 14. Like, even if she's 14, hopping on the back of a motorcycle and like driving off to school and shit, it's like, I don't know about that, man. Like, that's a little bit like maybe when you're 15, 16, like 14's a little young. It's
excess. It's all about excess. Like, I think,
why is she angry all the time?
Yeah, like, I mean, yeah, like why is she angsty? But I mean, like, I definitely agree with you. Like the building sequence at the end, like when they're in the downtown, whatever, in the city, completely unnecessary. Like, you could have ended the movie there, but man, am I glad it's there, kind of thing. Like, you know, and I feel like James Cameron looked at this script and was like, we don't need the daughter in here. Like, you know, we don't need the daughter in here, but I need that action scene at the end.
Right? Yeah.
Like, you know, I feel like he's kind of like, you know, took that approach.
I die watching this because like her parents are gone for like 3 days. Who's taking care of this little kid? Like,
okay, they're gone for 3 days, but also like even when the movie ends, they're out doing another fucking.
I know.
Like,
who's raising this child?
Hijinks.
Like, Jesus Christ. So, you know, he returns home. He gives his daughter the snow globe. She's a piece of shit, so she throws it in the dude, my dad brought me a T-shirt from New York once. I had that thing for like 7 years.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, this is awesome.
Yeah, I'm like, you're gonna throw that in the trash? Hold on. I put that in my bag. It beeped at the airport. Right, I had to get wanded down. Right, they had to fucking open my bags in front of a whole bunch of people to prove that I'm not fucking smuggling a bomb.
This is what she thinks. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is what happens to me at every time I go to an airport, by the way. And like, you know, I got fucking rectally searched, right? Yeah. Just to bring you that goddamn snow globe, and you're gonna throw it in the bin.
And I love that he would bring that up, and then in reality, like somebody who works in the office was just like, and here's the snow globe, here's your passport, here's this. Like, somebody just picked it up. But she's not only is she a piece of shit, Zoe, but she's a goddamn thief. She steals his money and runs out the door. She's fucking 12 years old. So what you're telling me is
she deserves to die by a terrorist? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, I'm just saying if she had fallen along with the terrorist and the rocket went off. No, I'm just kidding. So God, dude, just Tom Arnold. He's like, yeah, they just, you know, those hormones, they start doing stuff goes crazy. Money's probably for an abortion. I laughed out loud. I was like, holy shit, he is so fucking funny in this movie. We go to the Omega sector, which is where apparently.
Dude, I laughed, dude, because Steph was like, you know, on her phone for a little bit, and she's like, so what is he, a spy? And I'm like, yeah, he's in the CIA. And then like they walk through the doors, and it's like the Omega sector. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
That's like something. That's like something a 10-year-old says. As like, what's our base called? Omega sector. It's like, okay, gotcha.
Because Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, and all that were taken. Like, I don't know why did we work all the way over to O? Like, I don't get it.
Right. Well, and you know, the Omega sector is not even the biggest grievance. It's Charlton Heston in a very subtle performance as Nick Fury, apparently.
What the fuck is this?
You know, and the thing is, Charlton Heston started doing this in the 90s. Like, he's in Mouth of Madness in a role like this. And he just randomly like pops up and stuff where I don't think he was really like acting anymore. He was just making like cameos and stuff. I think he's in like a Western around the same time. I can't remember. But dude, this guy looks like, I mean, just the eye gone and all the scars. He is kind of scary looking, you know. There is kind of something terrifying about old ass Charlton Heston. Like, I'll cut your eyes out and have your mother for dinner. You know, it's like there's something very terrifying about this old ass man to me. 'Cause just looking at that face, it's like, that's a man who has shot children. There's no way. Like, I'm looking at him like that is a man who has watched people get skinned. Like, I think the worst things about this man, because he's just looking at that face.
Just refresh my memory. Bowling for Columbine. That was Charlton Heston, right? At the end?
Yeah, that was the one. Yeah. I think I've never watched it. I know what you're talking about though. When he goes to Charlton Heston's
NRA. House. Well, he was the big NRA activist.
Yeah,
pro NRA activist.
I know he had something to do with him. Yeah, I can't remember.
I remember it was an old white American actor. I just can't remember.
Yeah. Well, there's been so many. But the this whole thing, and the fact that I don't know, there's something that is kind of funny about how flippant they are, but it's like, you're talking about a guy who's getting nukes to blow up the United States. He's like, sir, we don't have anything, rock hard yet. He's like, in fact, it's quite limp. And it's like, you understand 400 million people are about to die. Like, there's something like, I watch these movies and I try not to take them so literally because I'm like, oh, it's just Schwarzenegger and James Cameron. But there is something funny about it where it's like, I would love to see that in the real world and someone go,
just how blasé it is.
Yeah, just in a room full of operatives and someone go, did you really just say that? Like,
did you miss like the 3 days where Arnold walks off the job so he can stalk his fucking wife who he thinks is having an affair?
Yeah, dude. And dude. So at the end of this movie, by the way, Helen and Harry are both executed in the woods somewhere and buried like the last Romanovs of Russia. Like they're never taught, like the kid goes into a foster care. Like these people are murdered and they don't make her Harry is lucky to be alive at the end of this movie. He keeps his job. I can't hold this till the end. I was trying. He keeps his job. His wife gets recruited. Their kid must know that they're spies.
His wife gets recruited is the funniest. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the end of Men in Black when they get the mortuary chick, like to be in Men in Black as well. It's like, what?
I mean, personality wise, yeah, you're a good fit, but what the fuck, like Will Smith worked because he was a cop.
She's a good fit, all right.
Oh, Linda Florentino? Yeah, dude, she's got that Carla Gugino vibe to me that I'm like, I think I gotta admit, I was, if you gave me a hall pass, I think it's going to Carla Gugino. I think I finally decided. That's a different conversation though, but
Margot Robbie.
Nah. I mean, I'm just saying if you get one, I'm not saying it's a bad pick. I'm just saying for me, that's not personally what God, you have no taste. What are you, 22? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. She's a beautiful woman, but I just screenshot
my reaction to you saying like Margot Robbie's all right. And it's going to go in the after party.
Let me add Margot Robbie or Jamie Lee Curtis in this movie.
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Thank you. Okay, we're fine. Anyways, back to the movie. Literally, I as soon as you said Jamie Lee Curtis, I was like, okay, fine, we're friends again. No, I'm just kidding.
We can continue this podcast.
Yeah, we can continue the podcast. So again, we see the Omega sector. We see all the stuff they're doing. They, the fucked up thing is seeing her at work talking to her friend, and she's talking shit about her husband, and I'm like, that's awful. Like, if I were at work and someone were just like, yeah, my wife's so boring, I fell asleep talking to her. It's like, God, what an asshole. Like, maybe don't come to work and tell everybody that. Like, I don't know. There's something kind of rude.
Did you attend Woodstock like last week? Like, what the fuck?
But and it's funny how they try and like, it's like Angela and Pam from The Office, how they try to make them not look they're absolutely beautiful women. So it's like, I don't, like looking at Jamie Lee Curtis, it's like, dude, I've already seen Trading Places. This woman is Adonis. Like, she's absolutely gorgeous.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And there's something so funny about that. them trying to she's got the pearls. She's got like the glasses that her mother probably would have worn, or her mother would have probably worn. And the whole thing of like, so in the middle of all this terrorist stuff going on, in the middle of all these nuclear warheads, it's like, we're going to pull agents off of priority things to tell your wife. It's just like this is a movie where if you think about it for like half a second, your nose bleeds and you're like, oh
apart.
my God. Like,
but that's what I was saying, man.
It's just fun,
Cameron finds some way. He finds some way to make it just so utterly watchable, you know?
Right.
Like,
even I know it's ridiculous, but I still love it.
Charisma.
Yeah, I still love, dude, seeing her in the limo go and he's holding her arm. I'm like, oh, I'm so fucking there. I love it. Yeah. It's so good. I know how dumb this is and I don't care. So let me see. Yeah, I get my notes. Oh, yeah. So he breaks balls about the Switzerland job. Arnie meets back up with Juno to get some info on her. He's still under the whole Rehnquist. Harry, why do you use the same first name? You idiot. Like, that's so ridiculous. Anyways, I just can't. Harry
Rehnquist.
We see that she's in cahoots with the bad guys. It's a good thing that you're paying me a lot of money. It's like, I'll take lines written by a dude for 100, Alex. Like, he slaps her in the face and her immediately response is, a good thing you're paying me a lot of money. And it's like, that's
like, he fucking bends her over backwards. Oh, yes. Good thing you're paying me a lot of money for this, too.
Like, yeah, dude. Go and get an escort and pay them $1,000 and smack them across the face and see if that's what comes out of their mouth. Right. And it's like, I fucking died watching. I was like, Jesus Christ, she bounces back from that hit like way too fast. Just with that response, it's like,
just before we do move on, I do like that reveal though. Like I like that because like it's obviously the first time we see these two in cahoots, right? And that he is the big bad. I love oh hey, can I talk to you for a second, please? Closes the door. Walks casually up, bang! Like I love that that reveal. It's really awesome.
This guy really, I do like the secrecy of it. He does kind of play like the cards close to his chest. I do enjoy it. After,
you know what, man? I was thinking, it's funny because you know you've got look, everyone on this podcast who is listening to this knows who Mia Khalifa is. Don't even deny it. Don't deny, who Mia Khalifa is.
It took me a minute, yeah.
Yeah, so Mia Khalifa, very famous ex-porn star, famous for, I guess, taking dick while wearing a hijab. So she got a lot.
That was a big deal.
Yeah, huge big deal. But she got apparently a lot of death threats.
Yeah.
Because obviously she is, I'm pretty sure she's not Muslim too, but she is portraying a Muslim having sex.
She's from Lebanon or something?
Yeah, she is from Lebanon, but I don't think she's like Muslim because like I know
I don't know how I know that, Your Honor. Just me straightening up my tie, looking at the judge.
Hey, Lindsay, what are you doing there?
No, I saw in a video she was like a lot of the.
Which video?
I was getting well, no, it was her in an interview. I think it's on a TV show, and she was like, "Yeah, I'm getting all these death threats from like these
black couch."
God damn it, no. She's like, I'm talking. She was doing an interview with, or it might have been for like a comedy show or something. But she was like, "Yeah, so I'm getting all these death threats from these guys when it's Middle Easterners who consume the most of my porn." And then the guy she's talking to is like, "Oh, really?" He's like, "I didn't think they'd be able to, because the Wi-Fi and stuff." And it's from like a comedy show, I think. But I was like, that is so crazy, Yeah, she's had a lot of problems with that.
Well, the point I'm trying to make is, it's funny that Mia Khalifa receives death threats for that.
Mm-hmm.
But actors like Art Malik or people who always portray Muslim freedom fighters or caricatures of villains or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. They don't get anything, or like we don't hear about it or something. Like, it's kind of like, it's interesting. It's an interesting thought that I had. I'm just like, like, I guess it would be brave, especially around this time. It'd be brave for an actor to be playing a Muslim, I guess, a terrorist in a big Hollywood production. for fear of like death threats, because like I don't know, like you know, and it's weird that the death threats came in response to sex than it does to violence. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just a couple of things that I was thinking about. I was weirdly in the shower. Like, I was in the shower and I was like,
that's why you're thinking of me at Khalifa. But no, that is interesting because it's like, it's almost what Larry Flint says in People versus Larry Flint. He's like, which is more disturbing? He's like, sex or war? And he was like, but sex, he's like, is outlawed. You can't really go and just go buy a porn. You know, what is wrong with what I do? No, that's interesting, especially from your side of the fence. I would be interested to hear like kind of like what your thoughts were on that. But we don't have time. I'm sorry. No, I'm just kidding. After promising to be home. Yeah. After promising to be home at 8, Arnie and Albert pick up a tail, which leads to our big bathroom fight and the bike chase. This is great, but the whole thing is like there's the bathroom fight, which is cool and it looks great, total like Mission Impossible Fallout vibes and stuff.
Yeah,
like that's definitely what I thought of. And I haven't even seen the movie. I just remember Henry Cavill walking and just like, you know, like flexing himself up, and I was like, okay, that's gonna be good.
It's honestly a fucking amazing action sequence in Fallout.
I'm sure it is.
Like, oh shit.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. It does seem a little redundant having these like back to back, you know, like having the bathroom scene and then going to like the chase through the whole hotel.
The horse chase.
Right. But the horse chase is not really crazy. It's half of it's an elevator trip, you know? It's like,
dude.
Okay, well.
I love it. This can get as ridiculous as it wants, man, because I enjoy the fuck out of this. Like, there's something about Cameron's action sequences, particularly in this and in T2, where they're always moving. Like, you know, they're always moving through different locations. They're always moving through different areas. You know, you're always discovering new parts of geography, you know? And, like, they're not shot like, you know, as much as I love him, Michael Bay action sequences, they're not shaky cam. They're not up close. They look, you know, you can see them. You can see them clearly. You know where each character is in the shot, in the composition. So you're never confused at all, like who's chasing who or who's firing what gun. Like, you know what I mean? There's none of that. This action sequence is amazing, dude. I remember distinctly remembering this bathroom fight because it's just like there's something about like bathroom fights for me that just stick out. Like, it's just like it's a place where you're most vulnerable. Vulnerable.
Like that old dude taking a shit,
hanging out. Right, exactly. Your dick's hanging out. You're just trying to void yourself, and a fucking brown guy comes and tries to shoot you. What the fuck?
Well, it makes me think of like Reservoir Dogs, like him in the bathroom with all the cops. It makes you think of The World's End. You know, that's a great bathroom fight scene. Like now that you think about it, there are some really great, just him ripping the hand dryer out of the wall and just clobbering. It's like, Jesus Christ.
Oh, dude. I'm sorry. Fallout gets the gold for that. Like, Fallout's scene is...
I need to watch. I need to start watching those because I've heard they get better.
Man. Especially the Christopher McQuarrie ones. The Rogue Nation, Fallout, and there's a new one coming out too eventually soon.
I'll see him for Simon Pegg. That's all I need. So again, not breaking this whole thing down, but God, there are some really, really great moments from this. And it's just, again, it's Cameron with that goddamn blue light the whole time. And just the flashing, it's like it feels so sterile in there. It feels like it's ice cold. And I like that. That's kind of like his signature thing. Everything feels like cold steel, like all the time. And just him unloading into all of the bathrooms and seeing Arnie spring out like, you know, this was super iconic to me as a kid. And we had Tom Arnold's truck that he's driving around, like his little, it's called a Blazer.
Oh yeah.
Like we had that, we had a white one growing up. We had an exact one just like that.
There's something about this scene that just visually just looks incredible. Like even like as Arnold's running towards the horse, like you see the coat just billowing behind him. You know, like as he jumps over his taxis and the camera just kind of like keeps sliding through the street. It's awesome, dude. This is a great scene. Like, you know, like even like when they're in the elevators and they're just staring at each other, you know, Arnold's got that really like, you know, confident smile as he like points the gun, and the terrorist is just like fucking shit scared of him because he's like, who the fuck is this guy? You know, it's awesome. Like the comedy with the horse as well. when they're in the elevator. But I mean, like, he fucking fits a horse in the fucking elevator.
And that's what it's like. Schwarzenegger alone would barely fit in this thing, but
right,
like,
exactly.
like on a horse, it's like
exactly.
it's like the Fantastic Four's The Thing riding a unicorn. It's like, what the hell is going on here? But
there's oh, sorry.
I was like, you were gonna try and jump that roof with a horse? What? Here's the thing. You might make it. What happens to the horse? What happens to the people below the horse? What happens to the family of the people below the horse?
Yeah.
Right. Like the horse is turned. God, you can't even turn that thing into glue by the time it hits the bottom of that sidewalk. Like, Jesus Christ.
I was about to say, I like the idea of the terrorist having the more technologically superior way of escaping, like the bike, and then the hero having something more traditional like a horse. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's already kind of like the terrorist has the upper hand, so kind of thing. Yeah.
I like his banter with the horse though. Like, what are you doing? You call yourself a police officer? Like, what are you doing? You leaving me hanging out there? Yeah. If Red Dead 2 has taught me anything, it's that horse ain't going over that ledge. That horse gotta kick the hell out of you.
Yeah. But I love the Arnold scream. Like when he's like as he goes over the edge.
Yeah. Dude, there are some moments.
By the way, Arnold is pulling that horse down with him as he fucking flies over, dude.
Like, and the again, like, dude, just that rooftop, when you look at the lighting of everything, it's like, it is nothing but blue light. All of the lights behind them and it's like, God damn, dude, this, like, it's almost a little excessive. Like, I love the way Heat looks. Heat does some really cool stuff like that, Michael Mann, but he also does some other stuff too. Like, there's just this cool wave over everything that it's like, God, James Cameron is just like that Eiffel 65. Like, I'm blue and down. Like, you just live in that fucking song, dude. But of course, he doesn't end up making it home. What?
Sorry. Can you imagine if the terrorist just like full guns his motorcycle and he just goes flying over the plate glass window, like it doesn't crash? Like he didn't even bother to shoot it out or anything. Like, it's just assuming it'll crack it, and it's like, oh no, that's reinforced concrete we painted to look like glass. Oh shit.
So he of course he doesn't end up making it home at 8:00. He apologizes. They identify the man from the night before, Salim Abu Aziz. Arnie stops in to see his wife, who is actually on a private call from the unknown Simon. Distraught, Arnie has a bug placed on her and the terrorists as well. Why not? Two birds with one stone, right? While you're getting people that might nuke the nation's capital, we'll figure out if your wife is banging a used car salesman. That seems like a good appropriation of funds. Like, as a taxpayer, this movie outrages me. But you gotta
just
spy, in terms of entertainment,
spy responsibly, right?
Right. Like, he's like, yeah, you think I could afford the Marquis on my budget? And it's like, how much that guy? How many hours I have to work for you to afford that hotel room? How many hours? How much time did that take? So the following day, they end up tracking her down and seeing where her rendezvous is with Simon. That's where he takes credit for all the stuff the day before. Because at first they're like, oh my God, this guy's a spy. And then they're like, dude, this is your shit. And I don't think it's here, but Tom Arnold's like, I'm actually starting to really like this guy. And you know what? That totally makes sense for Tom Arnold's character. Like, he is kind of a sleaze as well. He's like, I'm actually kind of admiring this guy. This guy's got some balls. But just, dude, Bill Paxton is just, I hate to say this, he kind of looks like Edgar Wright to me in this, like the gap in the teeth, the mustache.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I hate to say Edgar Wright looks like, I pissed my pants. Like, I hate to say that because I love the guy, but he does kind of have like that look.
Man, Bill Paxton, he's doing work in this movie, man.
Yeah,
he's
doing God's work in his 5 minutes. Yeah,
yeah. Like this feels like the Bill Paxton section of the movie. Like, like it is, because once he leaves, it's not that it's less exciting. Yeah, you know what? Fuck it, it is less exciting because, like, man, like he is really adding so much to this movie, man. Like when they're in the trailer. And like, she's saying like, I'm married, I can't just drop my things and leave. Just the way he goes to the kitchen and like he starts smiling to himself. He's like, oh my God, I got her, this fucking bitch, man.
If not for me, for your country. It's like, God, Dude,
So
he is such a
good.
sleazeball in this. And it's nuts to look at him and be like, dude, that's the guy from Frailty. Like, that's the guy from fucking Near Dark. Like, a lot of really, really good movies.
Fucking aliens.
Yeah, fucking Alien. So, again, they tail her to Simon. And then after that, they tail Simon to the used car. This guy's a used car salesman. This just keeps getting better and better. He takes Arnie for a ride, and he kind of gives up his whole angle. This is a guy who just can't shut the fuck up about a good thing. You know, this is a dude who plays the same winning lotto number every week, and then just can't shut the fuck up about it, and everybody plays it. What I love is Harry goes, so you lied to them all the time? I couldn't do that. And it's like, that's exactly what you do, motherfucker. Like, that's your whole life. Like, your whole life is a lie.
Dude, and you get the pilot leaf that can start a leaf blower.
Dude, Jesus. Like, and he is so, like, so gift to gab in this. He is so just riffing the whole time. But right before Arnie breaks his face in, did you catch the line? Got an ass like a 10-year-old boy. And I was like,
yeah. I was like, what?
I stopped and I was like, if I ever, like, listen, man, I'm from the South, and if you're at work in the break room and someone's like, hey, you see that new chick? Dude, she's got an ass like a 10-year-old boy. I'm like,
I just do a double
fuck?
take.
Like, dude,
I drop what I'm holding, and I'm just like, we need
you get fucking, this is the South. You're going to get stabbed.
My next Google search will be the phone number for the FBI. Dude, that will be my next Google search.
Even if, who says got an ass like a 10-year-old boy? I've never heard that out of anybody's mouth. I don't think anybody's ever said that.
One of my favorite quotes like that, except not as fucking, I guess, pedophilia, was from Supernatural, dude. It's like Dean, Jensen Ackles. He goes up to the bar and like he checks out the bar, like the bartender, and he's like, whew, man, you could fit that ass on a nickel. Like, that's fucking good. Awesome. Yeah. But, dude, when Arnold fucking punches him in the face, it looks like the blood. It looks like he just got JFK'd. This is literally.
It looks awful.
This is the fucking. Is this the Zapruder film? The Zapruder film I'm watching right now? Like, what is this?
If anything sticks out to my mind from when I was a kid, it's Jamie Lee Dance, and it's him crushing Bill Paxton's like frontal. He like Conan's his frontal lobe.
Yeah.
And it's
where does all that blood come from?
Dude, if you imagine how big his fucking hand is, and just Arnold hauling off and hitting you, it's like. And there's something like, shit, you've never seen There's Something About Mary, have you?
I have, of course I have.
Oh, God, yes. He is Matt Dillon in this movie. Like, he is so Matt Dillon.
Oh,
like, he's so
God,
Pat
yes.
Healy from There's Something About Mary. And I didn't connect it until like 10 seconds ago.
That's a good point, yeah.
I love Matt Dillon in that. He's so like, what's going on, guy? And he's got like this huge set of teeth. Oh, God.
Yeah. Dude, I love the way Cameron shoots this Corvette, like, just ripping around corners and shit, and back into the yard, like him doing the reverse move into the parking lot. It looks awesome.
Try to keep it under 90, like trying to be cool, but he's like silently shitting his pants. So yeah, he ends up. I think this is where. Correct me if I'm wrong. After they meet up with Simon, he ends up calling Jamie Lee to like set up like a thing. But this is where Tom Arnold hides the papers from him, and he's like, "What? Give me the goddamn pages!" And he breaks the window. I love that scene.
And
That's
Tom Arnold's just like looking at the window. He's like,
"Right,
you need therapy."
There's times that I look at Tom Arnold and the face that he looks at Arnold Schwarzenegger. I was like, you kind of look like an American Martin Freeman to me. There's something like an overweight American Martin Freeman at times, because there's moments where it's like, God, Tom Arnold, have you heard that shit about his sister? She was like the meth queen, and like there's a whole show about her. She sold a shit ton of meth. She was like a big time drug dealer, is like a big deal.
No.
There's like a whole show, I think, on Discovery about her, like the meth queen or something like that. Anyways, so Helen ends up meeting up with Simon, and he pulls up in that Corvette, and it's just like, yeah, you better go tread here. Let me help you. And I love, he's wearing the stuff that Harry wears. He has like a turtleneck and a trench coat on, and it's like, oh yeah. He kind of does look like.
I was like, is he
like
full
Harry.
trying to go? Well, I thought, okay, before I connected it, that he's wearing what Harry wears, I was like, oh, he's just seen a couple of James Bond movies. Like, you know, like
Right.
that's literally what he's. Oh, by the way, fucking random fact: Dax Shepard served as Tom Arnold's best man. Okay, all right.
Why? Okay.
I don't know. That's just a random fact.
Those are two people that I thought knew each other, but not were friends, you know, kind of thing. It's like, that's weird. Okay, whatever. Apparently, Eddie Murphy and, oh God, never mind. I'm drawing a blank on the guy's name. He's in Beetlejuice and he's in a couple other movies. And I think he's in like, what was his name? I think Forrest Gump. God, I sound like such a jackass because I'm drawing a blank on the guy's name. But Dick Cavett, thank you, Jesus Christ. He was like a TV show host, and he was friends with Eddie Murphy. And Eddie Murphy would dare him to do stuff, knowing Dick Cavett would never turn it down. And Eddie would be like, man, I bet you won't go out there and smack Aretha Franklin on the ass and grab her ass. He'd be like, Eddie, why do you do this to me every time? And he would go out and do it, though. And it's like, you know, he's like, Dick Cavett's fucking cool as shit, man. Dude, I fuck with Dick Cavett.
Your Eddie Murphy's pretty good.
Oh, thank you, dude. I used to watch a lot of like his Raw and Delirious, especially his Richard Pryor bit where he's like, man, Bill Cosby called me. Bill Cosby said he doesn't like, you know, hearing me say the word fuck. And my friend Richard Pryor was like, man, are you selling out seats? And he's like, yeah. He's like, are you making the people smile? And he's like, yeah. He's like, well, tell that motherfucker I said to have a Coke and a smile and shut the fuck up. Like, I love that bit, dude.
I love Raw, man. I love when he's like spinning the microphone around.
Oh, dude. He's like talking about tricking out Mr. T. And he's like, I didn't say those things. Maybe you didn't. I'm gonna find the fool who did. So what ends up happening is he's like, hey, I'm going to Paris. We've got to, you know, and what I like is that they kind of, she does give in, but then at the end, she's like, no, I can't do this. Get the fuck off me. And it is kind of like a nice little redemptive moment of like, no, when really push comes to shove, you don't really want to do this, you know?
Well, and it's interesting because I think Cameron, when he was writing the script, he really kind of needed to keep this in mind. He needed to not make her, I guess, too much of a cheating housewife, and him, when I say him, Schwarzenegger, not make him unlikable in his, I guess, punishment of her. Do you know what I mean? Like when he, I mean, it's a little unlikely. It's a little. It is over the top, but it's in the name of comedy, I guess, right? So like, you know, you can kind of like overlook it, but like, you know, I guess that was I'm just taking a massive like wild stab here. Like that must have been a consideration when he was writing the script to make them not, you know, unredemptive.
I mean, even if she's like, yeah, give me that dick. It's like, I mean, I don't blame you, lady. You got to get it. Eventually, you got to get it. I'm just saying. Eventually, you got to get it.
Shit.
But there's a big step down from Schwarzenegger to Bill Paxton, though. I'm sorry. Like, that's a big leap. Like, plus, I imagine Schwarzenegger, it's like, dude, Jesus Christ, like, banging that dude, it's gotta be like having sex with the Hulk. Like, how, like, I'd be too afraid. Like, what if he had a heart attack when he's on top of me? Like, I'd be too afraid I'd fucking get smothered. Like, you know.
Why
am I having sex with Arnold Schwarzenegger? Because I'm a lady, and I'm a lady, Zoheb. Jesus, in this scenario, I'm a lady.
Oh,
have some class.
Yo.
Good Lord. Have sex like a good Christian every once in a while and just do it missionary. No,
my religion says I'm not supposed to have sex before marriage.
Yeah. So this is, hi, how you doing? This is where, real quick before we go to break, this is where they interrogate her and they kind of break her down. We see where she met Simon. We see where, you know, all this stuff got set up. You know, they, let me see here.
I love Tom Arnold just like chiming in. Like, you know, he just keeps chiming in. And like Arnold's just like, no. Oh, shit. So what about your husband, Harry? I guess he's not really ringing your bells anymore. He's like, do you back off? Just please. And he just covers the microphone. But you know, this whole thing of like, do you love your husband? And it's like, I'm just saying, this is a lot of work to like, you're taking interest. I'd immediately guess that's Harry behind the fucking glass. Right. I mean, like, how is it not Harry?
Well, and also it's like, if you'd have just taken even the smallest of interest to begin with, you wouldn't have a full scale, like phony operation going on. right now, dude. Like, this is not the way to course correct. This is crazy. And that's what I like is the fact that Harry doesn't get away with this scot-free. And it's not like, oh, you know, we're going to do a fake mission and then we'll be more. And it's like, no, what you did was stupid and reckless and almost got both of us killed. Like, okay, cool. I enjoy that. Like, he actually kind of gets like some kind of shit for that. But basically, they say, you know, she was helping out Carlos the Jackal. They're like, if you do this mission for us, we'll wipe your slate clean. We'll drop the charges. She really gives it to that mirror, though. She starts breaking that thing, and I was like, dude, one more swing, and this whole thing goes out the fucking window.
I couldn't remember, but I thought she smashed it. Like, I thought she would actually managed to get through, and that's how she finds out. Because I couldn't remember for the life of me how this resolves. But, like, it's good to know that this is how you know this movie's fiction, because Tom Arnold says, calm down, and then she calms down. Like, that is fictional as fuck, bro. You don't tell a woman to calm down, and then you expect them to calm down.
You don't you don't drag a woman out of her lover's trailer in the middle of the night.
Hold on. I was like, what, are you talking out of experience here? What the fuck?
I mean, when I've run covert operations on my ex-lovers, and so she agrees to work for them, and they also let Tom Arnold go, which that scene is
Bill Paxton.
Dude, yes, thank you. God damn it. They end up letting Bill Paxton go, and it's like, dude, it really, as far as like Bill Paxton, there's very few scenes that, like, maybe the bar scene in Near Dark is personally my favorite, but it's pathetic. Like, dude, how do you, dude, and he starts pissing
him
on
going
himself.
the extra mile and saying that he has a little dick. It's
dude,
just fucking comedy gold,
even as they're like,
I'm actually a complete coward. If I ever saw a gun, oh my god.
And when they're leaving, they've already let him go, and he's like, "You want the car? I'll give you the car." And he's like, "Get the fuck, dude!" The flippant disregard of just like,
yeah. I'm like, do they not count bullets at the Omega sector? Is that not what they do?
Well, the fact that he could have put 2 in his shin and wouldn't even notice, because he's just like looking at his watch, like ordering a Big Mac on, like, he just like fires off like 5.
It's like, my Uber's nearly here. Hold up.
Yes, dude. And it's also, the reason why that's so funny is because it's shot really well, and you see the dust, like, and it's just dark outside.
It looks like live ammo, but obviously it's not. But yeah, it looks like live ammo.
And to be honest, you don't see Tom Arnold do kind of some badass shit like that in this movie. You only seen a couple of scenes, like, and I skip past the scene of him getting shot at the pole, and he's just like, oh, and he kisses it and runs off. I was like, that's cool. Yeah. And it's nice that we've already got one guy in the van who's only had one scene so far, and was it Faisal? Is that Faisal. So it's like, we can't have just 2 guys in the van the whole time. Like, I like the fact that he gets out, he starts running, like, he actually whips out that gun. He's like, get the fuck down. And it's like, okay, cool. I like that. Like, you're not just the dude in the van the whole time. Before we get into the second half of this, let's go grab something to drink. I need to use the restroom. Guys, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with the second half of our coverage of True Lies. Hey guys, what's going on? Colin jumping in here in the middle. Just kind of let you know some stuff that's going on at Midnight Double Feature. First off, please stop by and rate and review us on iTunes. Let us know how we're doing. It helps out so much. It takes 5 seconds and it's free. So there you go. We would really, really appreciate it. Also, you can find us on our socials. We're on Facebook at Midnight Double Feature. We're on Instagram at Midnight Double Feature. We're on Twitter at MDF Pod. Please also join the group that we have attached to our Facebook page. It's called the After Party. Everybody's invited. That group has been really expanding, and we're really excited to see where it's going. We can also find our website, midnightdoublefeature.com. We got our merch there. If you want to know something, you want to find us on our socials, you want to see what all's going on, that's kind of like our main hub. That's really where to find it if you want it. We also have a podcast for Breaking Bad that we have going on. It's called Bad Crystal. It's an interesting show where I actually haven't seen any of the episodes of Breaking Bad. Zoe has seen it like 15 times, and he's kind of leading me through it. I'm experiencing it for the first time with a veteran, and it's an interesting dynamic, and it's a lot of fun. And lastly, if you really, really, really want to support the show and really put all your cards on the table, we do have a Patreon. That's patreon.com/midnight double feature. It's $5 a month. There's only one tier. You get all access to everything that we've got going on. We've got bonus episodes. We've got off the rails kind of stuff. We've got a lot of stuff that's not going to make it to the main page, and there's a lot more geared for Patreon kind of stuff. So we really hope to see you guys over there. Like I said, plans start at $5 a month and end at $5 a month. That's the only one that we've got going on. We really, really hope that you guys can join up there, and we will hope to see you soon. See you guys later. Bye-bye. Hey, welcome back, guys. Coming at you with the second half of our coverage of True Lies, because we are freshly squeezed, as we always are, as we always will be. Jumping back into the second part of this, this is, where Jamie Lee Curtis, she gets the call, JLC, as I'm starting to refer to her now. Like if Robert Downey Jr. is RDJ, Jamie Lee Curtis, she's the JLC.
Sounds like a kitchen appliance.
It sounds like a 90s pop alternative band, JLC.
Like
it would be
JLC?
it would be like JLSEE, like JLC. But she gets the call, I don't want to skip past it where they're like, your code name will be, she's like, Natasha? They're like, Doris. So she gets the call. She ends up going to the hotel, and dude, Harry is eating this shit up. He's literally like eating, and she's like clacking the coffee cups and stuff. I was like, he's just like, listen, I fucked up and I kind of pushed you into this, but at the same time, I'm going to enjoy some of this a little bit. Like, I'm going to enjoy torturing you. It's funny. Did you see the meme where somebody put, because Johnny Knoxville now has gone gray, and somebody put a picture of Johnny Knoxville and Jamie Lee Curtis together, and they look like identical?
Oh, shit.
Shit. That's really weird. Yeah, because he's like solid gray now. He's like a silver fox.
Okay.
But she ends up going to the hotel marquee. They tell her, hey, your name's Michelle. You're a hooker. Carla's going to be sick. I love the French guy recording. Like, who's writing this shit, Harry?
Yeah. It's such a nice touch, dude. Like, there are things in this movie that don't need to be in there, but man, am I grateful that they are. Like, like this guy just recording it.
And the small detail of like, that's how much Harry knows his wife, where she starts doing, he's like, no, do it slowly, turn around. It's like he knows that she would, do that.
Dude, there is a moment when I can't remember, when we get to the scene and she asks a question or something, or she fucks something up, and the stuff goes to me, he would have had to record that. Right. He would have had to determine that was going to happen, and that's how well she knows him. He knows her.
That's the moment where she starts she starts dancing weird, and he's like, no,
slow down,
then sexy,
sexy,
down.
yeah, that's it.
Like, he's like, listen,
dude,
I've seen her dance. She's 2 steps away from Elaine with the kicks in Seinfeld. Like, calm down.
I fucking love it.
Oh, dude, but she ends up, I love her ripping off all of like the frilly stuff and slicking her hair back. And it's like, you can tell she's like really getting into it. And so was I at this first time I saw this.
I'd like to get into her. Can we cut
this out? This whole scene is like, what I love is that it borderlines on gratuitous at some points. It borderlines.
It's so long. It's so long.
The shots that you as the audience are just like, oh, like when she's squatting all the way to the ground, and Arnold Schwarzenegger's over there just like, I am the only man in the world to see this, Right. And I love the fact they don't put that right in the camera, because it is like, you watch like Avengers and it's like, dude, take a shot every time Scarlett Johansson's ass is in a shot and is in the frame, and you're going to be psychotic by the end of it. So I like that, like, there are tasteful moments of this, like it's very right, but it's not like over the top, even the thing of her putting her finger in her mouth is just something she has to do to get the chip in there. It's like, oh, that's so smart. Like, I love that.
I do love this scene. This is an iconic fucking scene in any movie, but like, everyone knows that the difference between an actual voice in a room and a tape recorder, right?
That's a little bit like,
Yeah.
That's a little hoof magoofs, you know.
Yeah.
But
I mean, you need to, like, as we've been establishing this entire movie, you need to go along with a few things to enjoy it, right? Like any
right,
good action
absolutely.
movie.
Right. Yeah, 100%. Apparently her falling off the bedpost was like not supposed to happen.
Yeah.
And Schwarzenegger almost really got up and he was like, oh, fuck. And she just hopped right back up. But like the thing that kills me is just like, you know, how many, apparently we skipped all these scenes of Helen hitting the gym like every day and doing and I was like, good Lord, like this woman is in phenomenal shape for it to be 41 years old. Is like, dude, I feel like a piece of shit. I'm over here like bloated and like drunk, like, oh God, this is, I'm so embarrassed. Like,
get my lotion over here.
Get my lotion over here. But again, just drenched in the blue lighting. It's so James Cameron. Yeah. Well, and the fact that, you know, when push comes to shove, again, she kind of starts to go with it, and then she's like, "No, I've done my part. This is not what I signed up for." You know, and she clocks him in the head with a phone, and it's like, "Congratulations, you're going to be the star of a new true crime podcast. You just murdered this guy."
Dude,
like,
I can't help but laugh. I can't help but laugh, like the dance that she does before he asks, "Is dance sexy?" The little roll.
Yeah, the hand roll and the thumbs. What really makes me laugh is the fact that her husband is on a bed next to her and she hits him in the head with a phone and here's the and it's like, your husband is the only dude in 4 counties who go when he gets hit by something.
You don't think that this is Miss Olympia? Like, you know, come on.
I do love her kicking the shit out and going back and putting the chip. It's just like such a nice detail where she's like, oh, well, okay, let me make sure I did this. But of course, Harry's cover is blown. And right when he goes to explain, the terrorists kick in and kidnap them. Dude, what kills me is, you know, when Tia Carrera, when Juno, she rocks up and she ends up kidnapping him. And they're on the plane and she was like, Harry, just tell him, you know, blah, blah, blah. Like, oh, yeah? Well, where did I get this locket? It's like you see Harry go like, oh, Jesus Christ, dude. And he's trying so hard to get her out of it. But dude, you can hear his eyes roll when she's like, where did I get this locket? I fucking laughed out loud. Like I died when I saw it. I was like, that is so fucking funny, dude. Because everything he's doing, they're just on totally different pages. Like she's not really sure what's going on. He's not really sure what's going on. But like, I love they're on just two totally different pages until finally they get in front of that nuke and shit, you know, like that's finally when everything comes to a head. And it's like, okay, our planets have aligned. Everybody's kind of on the same page now. They're both.
I'm still watching the striptease.
Yeah, I'm still watching Jamie Lee Curtis dance. This is like I said, they're kidnapped. They're brought, you know, to the Crimson Jihad. Well, they're in the Florida Keys. Okay, it's random.
Yeah,
but
like
in front of the
who's? Oh, well, actually, that's a conspiracy. Who's bankrolling this? This is the United States government. This is the United States government.
Like who's paying for this thing?
Yeah. This is Clinton's administration.
So basically what they want Harry to verify, hey, yeah, this is what this bomb is. And the moment when he's like, it's a, you know, A-22X4 nuclear missile, and he just starts rattling and watch her face go like,
yeah,
just morph into like, who are you? But the punch he gets is well-deserved. It's well-deserved, honestly. It's like, you know what? You've had this coming, dude. Like, I get it. You didn't lie, like cheating on her or anything, but still, just imagine your wife being like, yeah, I've been a spy for 17 years. Yeah. I've had sex with about 24 people. I've murdered about 4 people. Like,
terrible ordeal for her to go through. Like, you know,
dude,
this whole thing. Yeah, it's terrifying. And honestly, he is lucky to only have walked away with a punch.
Dude,
it's crazy.
Well, also at the end of the movie, like, I want to see the conversation of her going, so you just set up that whole sting operation there, didn't you? That led us into this. Like every argument for the next 20 years is hers to win just based off of that, you know?
Yeah, literally. All she needs to say is undercover sting. That's it.
Right. That's undercover. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And also like, where's your child? It's 11 o'clock. Do you know where your kids are? What the fuck?
Who's looking after her?
That's what I'm saying.
She's 12 years old.
It's like, I just wanted them to cut back to the house and it's just like a bunch of Hell's Angels doing meth and shit. Like, it's just like the most outrageous thing. Like, it's like it's Eliza Dushku at a table playing like Five Finger Fillet with a knife with like a Hell's Angel, and she's like, "Give me your money."
She's drinking like a bottle of Jack, just straight, just
yeah.
Dude, can we talk about the camera guy? I'm sorry, Aziz. Battery Aziz.
Dude,
he's
that
standing
is so
there
great.
like this, the side profile shot, like him sweating and like trying to like moisture his like mouth. Oh my god.
Well,
so good.
what I love that I totally forgot about is when they have her purse and it's got the transmitter in it, it's got the audio, it's got all of that shit. And I love that is set up and payoff that I love, that I was like, oh, that's fucking cool. I was like, I love how that works. Like just because we've already set up, we know that that's in there. And of course, Faisal ends up tracking it down. They're in the Florida Keys, and the device gets destroyed. And I love, this whole true serum thing. It's cool. I like the scene when they, inject him with a thing and him and Jamie Lee start talking, but they don't talk for very long. And like, I would love to see her actually, he has done this to her. He's put her in front of this mirror and been like, you fucking tell me your darkest secrets or I'll cut out your heart. And then now it's kind of the shoes on the other foot. And it's like, now it's her time to be like, hey, do you really love me? Like, is this really who you are? Cause like, maybe your wife is looking for excitement and maybe she went and did something that didn't really help, the issues that you guys have. But now the shoe is on the other foot for like, it's her. She doesn't know who you are, dude. You've been a spy for as long, you've been a spy for almost as long amount as a time as it takes someone to become an adult. That's crazy. And it's like, you don't even know who this person is after 17 years. That's fucking nuts. Yeah. I think they've been married for like 15 maybe, but still it's like after that long.
Right.
Yeah. That's just mind blowing. And I kind of wish they did a little bit more with this. I kind of wish she pushed, maybe there's like some stuff on the cutting room floor.
I agree. I wish there was a little bit more resolution, but like, yeah, like the movie's long enough as it is. I think you get rid, in a perfect script, you get rid of that last action sequence with the Harrier jet. As much as it pains me to say, because it's such a great looking scene, and I think you pump it into here. Like you just a little bit more of a conversation, a little bit more of an understanding, or a little bit more regret on her part for not on his part, not being straight with her. Yeah.
Right.
By the
absolutely.
way, you're talking about the truth serum that was administered by the Draugr from Skyrim. Is that what you're talking about? Because
dude,
this guy, dude,
he looks terrible,
dude.
He's like the fucking Rasputin guy that Hellboy digs up in the Russian cemetery. Like,
I want to know what his nutrient intake is, because man,
dude,
whatever he's eating, he needs some fiber. He needs some protein. This guy is gonna wither away.
Well, he looks like when they first find Juicy like Mummy Imhotep in the Mummy. He's juicy. Like he's kind of got that like gnarly look. he looks like beef jerky. There's something about him that's just like, who put you in a shack somewhere and dried you for 12 hours? Like,
but like him,
but
I love his reaction when he gets out of the handcuffs. He's like, oh, he's got the eyes wide open and he just like breathes like, oh.
Yeah, those are the moments in this that I really enjoy, because like the comedic stuff is like, it comes it's like waves, and it's like a boat. It's like just doom, and it's like it's hitting the waves. Like it's a really, really good balance of both action and comedy, but also some romantic stuff as well. And there's really a lot of, a lot of really good balancing in this. I feel like this movie feels like plates being spun on sticks.
Oh,
and
yeah.
They're always spinning those
Big
plates
time.
very well. I love that everybody dies very quietly in this room. He hooks a guy in the chest and he's not like, he's my chest. Like the guy's not screaming, for fucking 20 minutes. You know how long it would take you to probably bleed out from that? And he's just like, well, I got hit. I guess I'm dead. But this is where they make their brilliant escape. The thing I almost my favorite part of this whole scene is the fact they start walking and Jamie Lee Curtis, they make a point to show her ditching the heels. And I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's like Jerry Bruckheimer, or who's the guy who does those god awful Transformers movies? Michael Bay. Michael Bay would be like, no, she's got to leave her shoes on because it's hot.
The big one that I think I'm going to mention is a lot of people probably already know that this is coming. Bryce Dallas Howard in Jurassic World. She plays kind of like a CEO character of the park, and the entire movie, dude, she's running away in heels from literally she frees a T-Rex and she's running away from the T-Rex in heels. And that movie, honestly, that movie actually copped backlash because of the heels. It's crazy.
Well, because I read that it was something that she decided to do, and
either way, it was kind of like, it's fucking retarded. She's in the jungle, dude, wearing like heels. I don't understand.
Excuse me. Yeah, no, that's absolutely ridiculous. That's like the guy in the jungle who's like, I got my high tops. It's like, that's not, your Chuck Taylors ain't doing shit here, bro.
Totally. This action scene, one of my favorite moments is him kicking the AK up to himself. Oh my God, dude. Can we make a gif of that? Dude, because it's so good. Well, because
it's so smooth and they don't like, it's not edited in a way where they're like, and where they're right up on it. It's just a straight like,
yeah, fucking awesome.
And the way he looks when he starts unloading into them is like, that looks like Arnold so fucking natural. Like he's just him shooting a machine gun into a group of like various people. It's just so probably natural to him.
And him, dude, with the flamethrower, it just looks awesome. Like all of this is vintage Arnold, and just again with Cameron's expert like direction. Like, you know, it's all legible. Like, you know, we're able to see what's happening on screen. It's not this big like action sequence. I love him blowing away this guy that comes up behind Jamie Lee Curtis. He just spins with the pistol, one shot, dead. Oh, like it's, you know, it's action movie bullshit, but it's amazing action movie bullshit, you know?
I tell you what's amazing is watching Schwarzenegger shoot that AK at those guys after he kicks it up, but he's not really blinking. And it's like, that's gotta be something you learned. I think he learned that from Terminator. Was like, you can't blink shooting these guns, right? And it's like, I gotta blink, man. Like, I'm a human being. Right. What does she say? She's like, I married Rambo. And there are a couple of things that like I wish they gave Helen like a little bit more, like when she's got the Uzi and she's like, oh, and it's just falling down the set.
How have we not talked about this yet, man? That was so like Looney Tunes-esque bullshit that it actually stood out. Like, I'm just like,
yeah,
what is this?
Like, first thing, she would be the second person dead in the room. The gun is pointing back at her as it's going. But the thing is, you strip her away of a moment. Like, yeah, she punches out Tia Carrera and it's cool and whatever. But you strip her of a moment of her to like, how many times in this movie has Arnold saved Jamie Lee Curtis? And it's like, give her this moment of like, not like a pity, give her this moment, but like, I don't know. This just seemed, and she just seems so just, I don't know. And I get it. She's never fired.
Right. She needs a bit more agency. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Give me Sean Young in Blade
90s,
Runner.
So.
Yeah. Well, give me like Sean Young in Blade Runner when she shoots the last like replicant before Roy Batty and gets him, I can't remember what the guy's name is, but she shoots him in the head and she's kind of like, oh my God, like, I can't believe I just shot this guy. Not Roy Batty and not the snake lady, but the other one. I can't remember what. Leon, I think. He's the one in the beginning who shoots the Blade
Leon.
Runner.
Yeah, Leon.
I think it is Leon.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta watch that again. It's been a while.
Tyrell gets killed by Batty. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And let me see here. Oh yeah. So after really this whole shootout, she thinks that Harry's dead. And it's, she gets kidnapped. The Omega Sector descends on the place. He ends up leaving off with them. The terrorists have Jamie Lee, cue the bridge being destroyed and Arnie airlifting out Jamie Lee. Dude, that's her, that's fucking Jamie Lee Curtis. And she did that shit on her birthday. I was like, good for her, man. Like,
on her birthday, that was also my birthday. December 10th. Nice. Yeah. 1993 or 92 or something like that. I think literally I was born that day. I was like, okay,
shit.
Cool.
That's nice.
The bridge getting blown up. Dude, how fucking awesome miniature work. I love, this is something about James Cameron that I love, like the early James Cameron that I loved, like pre-Avatar, because this is him gearing up for Titanic. Titanic, you know, is a masterclass in like miniature effects work. Like, you know, it's all about like, you know, they obviously had a pool, like, you know, that you can go and dig through that movie and find the special features because it's actually incredible. But this is miniature work. Like, this is him blowing up a small scale bridge with a truck on it and flipping it over. And I waited to tell Steph that, and you know, she was like, man, like that looked really, really good. Like, you know, that looked like,
well,
you know,
and the seamless blend of digital and practical is great. Like when they have Harrier jets fire off the rockets, like that's digital stuff. It looks great though. It looks really, really good.
The truck being turned into Swiss cheese, like, you know, with the fucking the machine gun fire before like they blow the bridge. So good. And like not even that, but like again, you said the balance of comedy and action, you know, the blend of comedy and action, like in the middle of this like awesome like Harrier moment, you get this like rocket launch, the guy getting blown out the front of the fucking windshield, dude, in the most hilarious way possible and getting run over. It's just it's funny, man. It's so funny, like them like yelling at each other and panicking before it like gets blown out the fucking windshield. But like not only that, man, like I feel like in my primal instincts, like my male primal instincts, that shot of like Harry and Arnold Schwarzenegger and Tom Arnold sitting in the helicopter. I know.
Fuck you up.
And they're like Harriers are on their way, Marines are on their way, and you pan inside the helicopter to look outside of the helicopter door, and here they come. And it's just that one shot, dude. It's so awesome to see those fucking wrecking balls just absolutely fly in and wreck shit up, dude. I love it.
Well, and I love Arnold on the thing, and he was like, yeah, you know, he's like, the blast, if you get everybody out a 12-mile radius, everyone's fine. And he looks at Tom Arnold and he's like, I guess. And I'm like, dude, that is not a face you make when you do some shit. That is unacceptable.
These pilots are not opening fire on this bridge. they're just not, because like they're like, are you sure you're not going to blow up bombs? Like that is not enough clearance. You know,
I love the look he gives. Just like, well, we'll see. It's like, your wife is like 200 feet away from that thing. Like, what the fuck? But yeah, this was also the jet that was used in the one that Arnold takes, the one that's in Avengers, that Hulk and Thor fuck up, that Harrier jet. That's apparently, from what I've heard, the same jet.
That's cool. Makes sense.
So we've got this, you know, this final scene where, because the movie ends after the bridge scene. I'm not talking about anything else. No, of course the driver gets shot. They airlift her out. I love all of that. And the fact that like Tia Carrere takes the time to look up and be like, oh shit. And just kind of sits with it for a minute. And I was like, okay, I like that. But just the shot of, I mean, it's, like I get nobody really died, but like, you know, the ecosystem's never really the same again. Like a lot of shit's kind of fucked up after this.
But I like that the nuke goes off. Like, you know, like I was like, okay, what kind of like, you know, 10-second time of bullshit are we going to be doing here? Like when we like, you know, save the world kind of thing. But no, they just let it go off. And I was like, that's great. That I really, I'm so happy that the movie played with my expectations like that. Like, you know, in terms of like, let's just relatively safely let the nuke go off out here in the Keys instead of the city. Because what else can we do? Like, you know, like how else can we contain this?
We're the Crimson Jihad is like, we're doing this as like to show you what we can do. This is just showing our capabilities outside of a major city.
Can we talk about the bird landing on the truck?
Oh yeah, that made me think of Beetlejuice so much. Like, well, you never seen Beetlejuice, have you?
No.
You're uncultured piece of shit.
Anyway, so when the bird lands on the fucking van, dude, it tips and it just spontaneously explodes.
Oh, dude. Like the bird somehow was explode. Like the bird is like, all right, see you guys later. But like, did the bird drop C4 under the hood?
Fucking flicks the C4 switch.
Yeah. Oh my God. I would fucking die. You just see like a bird pecking like a trigger switch on the bridge.
Oh shit.
So yeah. So everything, pretty much everything is everything's hunky dory. And then somehow they found Dana, snatched her up in the middle of the night. Yeah, it must have been really easy with no goddamn adults around. Like, what? Who? I can't. I just can't.
Walks into the house. No worries. There's no adults here. Like, you got fucking Hell's Angels passed out everywhere. Right?
Yeah, right. It was really easy once all the Hell's Angels were all methed out. Mm-hmm. Or after their meth had run out, and they had to switch to smoking some weed to come down. But not that I would know anything about that. The part that kills me is he takes the jet and he starts like flying off, and bless you. And he was like, "Oh, this guy, he's got 100 hours of experience," and you just see the tire like,
dude,
like fucking up the cop car.
Oh, I love
it. He's a little rusty. He's a little rusty.
He's and looks, Tom Arnold's just like, we might want to back up,
right? Yeah,
back up,
everybody. Yeah. And the thing is, like, I don't really need the scene, but it looks great. The scene of him saving, his daughter, and then the terrorist is on the plane, and it all seems so ridiculous in like a 2021 scope, and especially once she's on the hood and he's kind of like, "I'll do the barrel roll. You hang on real good." Right. And I'm like, dude, I don't care. Like, this child is dying if you do that. Right. I'm sorry. Like, this kid's fucking dead. And it's just one of those movies where everything gets wrapped up perfectly with a bow.
Right.
He does the barrel roll. He slides off onto the He slides off onto the missile. He knows what's going to happen. He looks at the missile. He looks at the helicopter, and he kind of figures out what's going to happen. And it's like everything is wrapped up so perfectly, especially at the end, but all of this, seeing him screaming towards the helicopter is like, just pull up.
Right.
Like the helicopter, I'm like, you're a helicopter, just pull up, like, or just drop down or go any other direction. Take up space somewhere else and you're fine. Like, it kind of cracked me up, but it is, again, when I was watching this in, 1998, 1999, probably the first time I saw it, I was just like, oh, that's just brilliant. That's just me, little me in a t-shirt tuxedo, just like, oh, just fucking brilliant. I probably thought this was the most amazing thing I'd ever seen. The thing I really actually.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, apparently Eliza Dushku broke some ribs on this Harrier sequence.
Yeah. Dude, she sells the shit out of that crane run.
Yeah, she does.
Or she was like, if you shoot me, I'll drop this. Like, damn, you're a smart kid, man.
Yeah.
Personally, I would have thrown the key regardless. It's like, all right, bye. Like, if I throw the key, this guy's probably just going to leave me alone. Like, he's probably just going to leave me out here.
This entire final sequence looks awesome, dude. Like, I can't even get into it. Like, I mean, apparently it was the biggest 180-degree soundstage of a build. Like, it was a thing. Like Harry just flying up, fucking up those dudes on that level. Like, I mean, like fucking tipping the entire building over. But I mean,
dude.
Even like Faisal, like with the gun inside the camera and the walkie-talkie inside the camera.
I love it.
Oh,
yeah.
So good, man. So good.
Well, and the fact that, again, Faisal has been the guy in the van. So when you see him pull out a gun and drop 3 people in like 5 seconds, you're like, good for you, dude.
Yeah, efficiently.
Good for you. So, of course, they save the day. The terrorists get blown up. Everybody's fine. I love the moment of like her being on the jet and he's like, hey, we're on the ground now. And she still won't let go of the jet. I was like, don't blame me. I'm terrified of heights. I will fight a spider naked and blind, but I hate heights. I fucking can't handle it.
Are we just going to saunter past "You're fired"? We're just going to walk right past that?
Yes, we are.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, we are.
All right.
You know who ruined "You're fired" for me? Take a big fucking guess. You fired.
Right. No, I mean, yeah. I mean, it's Arnold Schwarzenegger, the king of one-liners. It's yeah.
Well, if I'm thinking Arnold's, "You're fired's" not bad. "Let off some steam's" the best. Got to be. Or what happened to your friend? Oh, he had to take a full, or he had to take a trip or something. He throws him off the bridge.
Okay, you kind of need to break it up, right? Are you going for puns or are you going for cool moments? Because puns, maybe, yeah, okay, but his best moment, one-liner use must be "Hasta la vista, baby," right? I mean, like,
it's not bad. I think it's a close second to "Come with Me if you want to live," and it's like that's your movie. Your whole movie is that. That is Terminator. Come with me if you want to live. Like all three of those first Arnold movies are like, whew, or I'll be back. You know, that's probably the most iconic. Honestly, yeah. I'll be back is like, come on.
Be back, might be.
Yeah. But what is that one? Last Action Hero is like, to be or not to be, and he lights the cigar and he's like, not to be, and he just like sets the. It's almost like so Christopher Walken-esque, you know.
I unabashedly love that movie. Like that is such a.
Oh yeah, I love Last Action Hero. It gets a bad rap.
Movie. It does get a bad rap. Yeah. Isn't
that John McTiernan?
John McTiernan. Charles Dance is the bad guy. Like yeah. Good movie.
I like that movie a lot. So of course, everything gets wrapped up at the end. Harry and Helen are now agents together, which again, you use your own first names and you're married in real life. And it's like, none of this is like, my thing is, I wish they had been like, oh, he's, you know, he has like, oh, my name's John and her name's Natasha. Like, I would love to see him kind of get the short end of the stick and be like, God damn it. But them seeing Tom Arnold at the end, again, everything is wrapped up so perfectly in this movie. And I think watching him run through the crowd in that tuxedo, pissing his pants, like, I can't believe that's the dude from fucking from fucking Near Dark in the bar, just covered in blood with a double barrel shotgun on his thing, just walking like, ooh, I'm gonna get you, boy. It's like, that is so nuts, man. But like, you know who has a real like deep affinity for Bill Paxton that talks about him and like every fourth interview I watch is Lance Henriksen. He's like, you know, because they did Aliens and they did Near Dark together. Yeah. And he was like, dude, I adored Bill like so much, and I really, really respected him. And he was like, we had a lot of fun doing Lance Henriksen. We had a lot of fun doing Near Dark. And like that guy's voice. That's what he knows. General Shepard in Modern Warfare 2.
Yes, I did know that.
What a fucking badass voice. But hey, that's fucking True Lies, man.
That's True Lies, man. I'm so glad you picked this because it made me dig deep because again, like when I couldn't find it, I was like, all right, it's gone. It's going to come back eventually. But I'm glad I dig deep to find this. And man, what a ride. What a ride. This is absolutely one of those movies that just kind of gets lost, maybe because no one can find it anymore. But
dude, I'm telling you,
truly a fun romp from start to finish, man. The script is really, really, really solid and like really above average, like above like what people thought about Arnold movies that were, I guess, not James Cameron movies, like, you know, like Red Heat and all those movies. Like, it's not that stupid. Like, you know, it's not Commando level dumb. You know, it's right. Like there's a little bit of like it's a bit more intelligent than that. You know, like I love the whole affair element of it all. You know, like the whole Bill Paxton element of it all, like all of that, and then like, you know, like wrapped up in a neat little bow with the whole terrorist action plot. And the action is gorgeous to look at. It's really well done movie. We've got a few comments. What do you think about that? You got a few?
Yeah, go for them. All
right, cool. Well, look, Jose Rivera, you are a beast, my friend. I love you. You're fucking awesome sauce. Jose says, caught this one late in life, but I really enjoyed this movie. For me, it's Cameron's last great movie before he went Titanic / Avatar crazy. I think Avatar crazy is accurate. I don't know about Titanic. I think Titanic, again, man, like Titanic takes some fucking filmmaking chops to make. Like that is an epic.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
I feel like and I don't want to like put words in his mouth, but it feels like before people started inventing technology for James Cameron,
Yeah,
you know,
I think that's what he's saying,
kind of
yeah.
thing. Like when he
Right.
stopped influencing like popular science.
Yeah.
Like,
right. I see it more as an action comedy than a straight up action film. It's got that Hancock thing where it seems like 3 movies in one. And then in brackets he puts, man hides life as a spy, man suspects wife is having an affair, and terrorist still nukes. There you go. And yet it all comes together nicely. I also remember a time Arnold was supposed to play Doc Savage, and while that movie never happened, when he's got the tattered white shirt at the end doing action scenes, you get a taste of what his version of Doc might have been. So there you go. We got one from Mark McCallum. Thank you, Mark, for commenting. He says, This movie was good fun. Loved it. And who doesn't love Jamie Lee Curtis in the bedroom scene?
can't argue with that. You want me to take the last 2?
Yeah, go for it.
Nice. Leona Fallon, such an underrated classic. I feel like my generation slept on this movie. Good action, good comedy, good cast. Loved it. I think that perfectly sums it up. Like a generation has, I mean, but where are they going to fucking watch it,
she's
Leona?
Younger than me. She's like 3 or 4 years younger than me. Yeah.
How does that feel for once? How does that fucking feel for once?
I am dyeing my grays black.
Yeah. That is such a great point of like, hey, a lot of people my age haven't seen this. Yeah. And it's fucking impossible. I'm 31. I could barely find it. And Danielle Cutter, freaking love True Lies. And it honestly might be my favorite Arnie film. The humor, the dialogue, the action sequences are all absolutely stellar. Thank you, James Cameron. But it's really the characters that keep me coming back to this one. Love Harry and Helen. I don't know how many of you realize this, but there's a rom-com hiding in this action movie, and Cameron does a brilliant job of blending the genres together. Great point. This was also one of my dad's favorite movies and regular rewatch at his house, so it's got a special place in my heart. Excited to hear your coverage, guys. Thank you so much.
How did you watch it, Danielle?
No.
Did you watch it on fucking Laserdisc? Because again, can't find this fucking thing.
Yeah, if you have a signed copy of this from anybody in the cast, good luck. You don't have to work again. 'Cause it's probably a rarity. No, as far as like final thoughts, I really enjoyed this movie. I feel like you could trim some fat off of this, but like even James Cameron fat is still good fat. You know,
Right,
it's still
yeah, we
Arnold
talked
fat
about-
is still good fat.
We talked about pacing. I didn't think the pacing. Like, I think the structure is a bit weird, right? Like, I think the structure of it is like, we could have cut off that final action sequence, but the pacing never slows down. Like, the pacing never gets boring or anything like that. It's always like, let's keep moving. Like,
Right. The only, I guess the only way you could, if you wanted to even say that it slows down even the slightest bit, is when it totally changes genres. But it changes genres so well that it's not like, oh, this is a totally different movie now. It's like, now that we're following up a lead previous. We're focusing on another a part of this person's life. I really enjoyed that a lot. I think that they do a great job. This is almost like not as dramatic a turn, but almost like From Dusk Till Dawn type shit, where you have like a comedy and a horror and, like a Western crime movie all wrapped up in there. There's a lot of different genres going on. So I'm glad we covered it. And because if I had waited a week, we'd be talking about something else. So there you go.
That's so funny, dude. I actually have a little reminder in my calendars to cancel Foxtel because this was used during a free trial subscription. So there you go.
Nice. Do you have any final thoughts before we get out of here? You already gave them? You good?
No, I already gave them before the comments. A great movie.
Okay.
Great Arnold Schwarzenegger action film that gets lost through time because honestly, it's kind of sad. It's actually really making me sad. Like, people should watch this movie because it's just a fun romp, and it sucks that it's tough to find.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is such a bummer of like I mean, like Danielle said, my dad and I loved this movie and we didn't agree on much, but that movie was definitely one of them. Guys, we hope you enjoyed this episode. Thanks for checking us out. If you want to, again, find any of our stuff, that's going to be at midnightdoublefeature.com. That's going to be our main hub. Please stop by our Patreon. That's patreon.com/midnightdoublefeature. Sign up and become a member of the Green Room. Pay $5 a month. You get 2 more episodes a month, sometimes of a little variety. Sometimes we do watch-alongs. Sometimes we just do straightforward feature presentations. Sometimes we just sit around and talk about, movies we walked out of, movies we've had sex during. No, I'm just kidding. But we have a variety. Yeah, that's not bad. We have a variety of episodes that we do different stuff on, and we love to hear you guys' feedback. And we hope that you are enjoying them. If you are signed up for that, if you're not, again, it's $5 a month. Patreon.com/Midnight Double Feature. And if you can, stop by, rate and review us on iTunes. Give us those 5 stars. It helps the show out so much. It's really it's detrimental to the podcast to help us survive. So we really, really appreciate it when you guys do that. Without any further ado, I'm going to get the fuck out of here and go eat some food. I'm starving.
Yeah.
Let me see here. Let me see. How long has it been? 6.5 hours we've been recording. No, I'm just kidding, you guys. It hasn't been that long. It's been a blast the whole minute. We hope you feel the same.
Hours.
Yeah, it's been like 5 hours. It's been fun the whole time. We hope you guys feel the same, and we'll catch you on the next one. See you later.
Thank you.